It's my duty to please the booty.
And Muzz got mad at me, the coach said, he goes, Jesus Christ, why don't you just wear 2 nines? And I went, okay.
I'll switch the call.
Please never do that.
Yep. So...
What up, folks? Episode 518 of Spittin Chiclets. Whit here, Biz. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? I hear you're not doing great, but before we hear about that unfortunate news, you know this episode is presented to you by Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam's own Pink Whitney vodka. And Biz, believe it or not, I didn't know this. It's pathetic I didn't know this, but I got a tweet from Al Morganti. You remember Al Morganti?
Yeah.
Our good friend in Philly. He was with us at Jonesy's house. He said, hey, Ryan Whitney, when Alec Baum hits his next double, send him a bottle of Pink Whitney because he will have passed Pinky Whitney for second most doubles in a season for a Phillies third baseman. Just one behind Scott Rowland. Now, there was a baseball player, now I've Googled him, born in 1902, named Pinky Whitney that starred for the Phillies a couple years. This guy would have crushed New Amsterdam owns Pink Whitney vodka. I couldn't believe that there was a human with that name. He's the real legend. He's the real reason you should buy the big old 1.75 liter bottle. So we're here now.
What a start.
And thank you to Pinky Whitney as well as New Amsterdam's Pink Whitney. How you doing, buddy? I feel bad for you.
Yeah, listen, I threw out my back, for those of you wondering, and I appreciate you for caring.
That's the only unfortunate news I have for you.
But wait, we got to get to one more thing before we get to my back. Alana, G's girlfriend, rang the bell last week. Call. We got to bring him on. G, you got to talk about this and come on, buddy. That must have been one of the happiest days of your life. Recently, your mother did as well. So I know there was a lot of trials and tribulations over the past year, but it seems like they're coming through the other side, my friend.
Yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel now, boys, which is nice, which is awesome. So, it's 16 weeks, 8 treatments, just an absolute warrior. This past Tuesday, she finished her last treatment, and yeah, it was unequivocally the happiest day of my life, happiest moment of my life watching her ring that bell. It was, I wasn't expecting you to bring me on there, Biz, so I'm kind of shocked here, but
no, buddy, it's emotional.
I love that, buddy.
It was the best moment of my life. Like, no one has gone through more in the past few years. I don't know if you guys remember, she smashed her leg a few years ago.
Oh, and the skiing accident.
She had a bad skiing accident. So it's been a battle, but we're throwing her a little chemo party this Saturday. We got a boat, rented a boat for her. So all of her friends and family, it's gonna be special. It's gonna be real special.
A perfect way to celebrate the end of summer, buddy. We couldn't be happier for you and Alana. And when we saw that post, there was jubilation in the Chiclets community. So congratulations to you both, buddy. I'm sure it was a very difficult ride, but you're through the other side.
Yeah, and for anyone out there that's going through the battle, celebrate the little milestones. I think something Alana was struggling with was to celebrate this chemo milestone, because she still has a long way to go. Still has a couple surgeries, a lot of radiation. But she has this mentor that just told her, you need to celebrate the little milestones throughout this whole process. I mean, people celebrate their 26th birthday. She just went through 16 weeks of chemo. You got to celebrate that. So we're going to have a big party. And I'll tell you what, Whit, the Pink Whitney will be flowing.
There we go. Gee, how about, we were chatting and you mentioned that she had a wig on, right? It looks incredible. You couldn't tell that. Even you said, I was like, you could never even tell she had a wig on. I actually want to get a sick wig like she had. Like
you need it more.
Yeah. Gee, am I wrong?
This foundation took Alana to a few different wig shops, and man, this wig cost like $5,000. And this foundation paid for
a wig.
This foundation paid for it all for her for free, which is so awesome. Then she has this toupee she's always wearing with this. She wears all the bandanas and stuff, but she looks so beautiful.
She looks great.
It's every day you just look at her and you're like, you're so much tougher than me. You're so much stronger than me. You're so beautiful, and I love you so much.
That's incredible.
Boy, G. That's great news right there to start the show.
Holy shit, that's
boys.
A morale boost. Let's go, baby. High stepping out of the gate.
If you're going through tough times, just know there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, but back to my back pain.
Back to my L5S1.
How the fuck do I follow that up, man? No, but,
I know you'll find a way, because you somehow you did it again. And I think you have a serious issue of thinking you're still 25 and in the NHL when you train. Like, double sessions. Like, buddy,
Bingo.
you're close to 40 years old. You need to just kind of take a step back here. You're not in the UFC.
No, I get it. So that the way you said it seems like a bit of a loser mentality, but I'm going to take a slower. No.
Well, it's like you're like a high school hero. I know that makes you sound loser mentality too. That's not what I'm trying to do after G's good news, but you got to just be aware right now of where you're at.
Yeah. Well, I started with the 6.2 kilometer runs every morning, and I was going with my buddy Rob, who's been doing this for the past 2 years, and I thought I could just hop right in, like you said. And then we were doing the weight sessions at night, And then I started slowly implementing the Legree and the yoga, but after I popped my L5S1 training with a bunch of young hockey guys at the yard, where I tried to hop in with the young hockey boys. That was the day that it happened, right? So my buddy Cumby, he's got about 8 to 10 kids who are going off to whatever junior or college and they can handle all the plyometrics and jumping and this and that, and boom, L5S1, as I've done it probably 10 to 15 times in my life, just tweaked it, knew it was going to be hell. All the muscles around it seize up. And ever since, though, I haven't just shut it down. I've been doing cycling. I've went and seen a naturopath. I've been to physio. I've gotten massage. I've gone to this, the yoga, and even ramped up the yoga even more. Because part of the problem here, and actually most of the problem here, Whit, is the range of motion I talked about. I don't have any. I have like early stages of arthritis because my fucking hips are so locked in there and grinded away from all those years of skating, along with my lower back. Like, do you find that you have like early stage arthritis in your hips and stuff?
No, I think I have it in my fingers though, because I was always cracking it, and then people told me that gives you arthritis. Now I'm starting to believe them because my fingers hurt. Now, you make a lot of fair points, but you do realize. So when did you retire? Was it 2016?
2017.
All right, so you're 7 years retired, and you're turning, I believe you're turning 39 this upcoming year, correct?
No, I just turned 39. I'll
yes,
be my
so you're
big
turning
40.
40. Yes, because I'm 2 years old, and I'm going to be 42. Jesus, Whit. If you were back training and you were one of these kids going to junior in college, right? And it was me and you, or you and your buddies. I can imagine me and Jans, and then this guy, this just about 40-year-old guy comes in. He's 7 years retired. You're like, this guy's gonna kill himself training with us today, and they were probably like, we called that one from the minute the warm up started.
Bro, they had an ART guy, like a needle guy in there just that day, just so happens, and all these kids are getting a little bit of treatment before, and I'm like, no, I feel good. Been running 6.2 every day, been lifting weights. I'm ready to go, all hyped up for my workout. Like 3/4 of the way through, I'm on the fucking table as they finish their workout and they're going by doing their plyos or whatever. So you
must have felt like such a loser.
People must have think that you were there based on the way that you just described it. So tough week. But what it's taught me, though, is like, I'm not just going to shut it down, sit on the couch, take pain pills. Although I did have a naturopath who's been helping me out. I'm going to get blood drawn this week. Maybe take some foods out of the diet that cause like natural inflammation. She was fortunate, like she was nice enough, and I know I say naturopath and people are like, well, that's not the route you take. She called in an anti-inflammatory and a muscle relaxer, because what happens when that L5S1 goes out, all those muscles around it just seize up, right? So you can't even barely move your back. So I was able to work through it, get some cycling in, get more of those yoga sessions where I'm coming out the other side now. And I'm going to be ready for Chiclets Cup not only, but I have a goal now of doing a triathlon at some point, maybe even before my 40th birthday.
Cornelli, are you listening to this guy?
So, hey,
at the end of that speech, which it's a great speech, and I love where your messages come. But
I'm not quitting, man.
To talk about the muscle relaxers and the anti-inflams and the naturopath, and it's like, I learned my lesson. Nope, I want to do a triathlon.
But there's cycling and swimming that are way less impactful. The running is kind of what fucked me. Until I get my range of motion back, I shouldn't be doing that constant pounding. And in fact, I'm going to throw it over to you. I'm going to start doing the Whitty workout cardio plan.
Okay, so I was going to mention, Biz, I like that. And for the tight hip flexors, good. But the bike, dude, that ain't good for a guy like you with no hip flexors.
That's not true, because naturally I rode the bike where my knees were out more. where if you tuck them in a little bit, kind of like in a V motion where your knees are coming closer to the bar, it kind of strengthens that like lower core and abdominal. Yes, that inner hip flexor as well, but I'm a little bit weak on my inner hip flexors. I always thought
you had the Harley ride going.
The Harley ride going on the bike, man. It's so bad for your hips and your TFLs. One thing about getting back into it and meeting with these physios, these massage therapists, is you start remembering all the old terms and what needs to be activated and turned on and the motion and the angle in which you should be positioned when you're lifting these certain weights. So I'm not going to quit. L5S1 is banged up right now. The pills help me through it on the other side. I'm going to continue with the yoga and the bike riding, and then bingo bango, next thing you know, I'm doing a triathlon. I might even represent Canada in the 2028 Olympics in the triathlon category. Unless they bring breakdancing back.
I was just going to say, in terms of Olympic discussion, we found our event we could do.
We found our winner.
And I don't know about you. I don't know about you with your shooting comment, but I saw a couple. I've gotten crushed for the swimming one, and I've come out and openly admitted. Nobody's coming at me and saying I couldn't do what Raygun from Australia did. I believe her show name was Raygun. If Grinelli can look up her real name.
Rachel Gunn is her name. I think that's why they call her Raygun. So she took a little abbreviation from her name, man.
That was one of the funniest clips. I watched a clip with Curb Your Enthusiasm music behind it, and like another one with a different little like whistle tune.
How about the Peter Griffin? Peter Griffin. Have you seen the Peter Griffin one?
For anyone who didn't see, breakdancing, I believe it's called breaking in the Olympics, but it's breakdancing. There was a woman from a country that was like basically balancing and jumping on her head upside down right before Raygun came out. And she started it off with really ripping up some kangaroo style dances. I believe at one point it looked like she had her finger in her thumb rolling around the mat. I want to actually just pull it up and just talk about it as we're both watching it.
So I was really on her side when she pointed to the Australian thing and then did the kangaroo hop. And then I was a little confused as I kept watching because like some of the stuff she was just like rolling on the mat, kind of having like a seizure when like the other ones are like twirling on their head. So I was kind of confused as to maybe it was like a little bit of a different start. But then as it kept going, you could see the people in the background's reaction. And
they're all looking around like, we're on candid camera. Like when are they going to pop out?
The one other thing that made me turn against her, because I was on her team to begin with, was after she'd done her awful sequence, and that's up for however you want to ingest it. You might say it's unbelievable because of the viral moment, but we all know it was shitty breakdancing. Part of her shtick was as the other person was going and lighting her up, she was giving it the like playing into what you would maybe be doing in a breakdancing competition, where it's like, and by the end of it, she got no points and the other person got 92. So she didn't get one goddamn vote, and she's shooing away the other person, acting all cool like she's the best break dancer of all time. So from the beginning of the bunny hop or the kangaroo hop to the end, she completely lost me, and that's why I think that the judges went, fuck you, we ain't giving you a vote.
I mean, I'm reading some of the comments from some of these breakdancing people across the world, and this action is immoral, illogical, and insulting to the hundreds of thousands of B-boys and B-girls worldwide who live and breathe this culture. And as a former Olympian, as somebody who was able to represent my country in the Olympic Games, seeing this girl roll around on the dance floor similar to how I probably could do, sober or drinking, it made me like think of the others out there who've been busting their balls trying to make breakdancing a bigger sport. Now, here's the other part. We're not I don't know who won it all. I know Raygun though, and I couldn't list you the bronze, silver, or gold medalists, but Rachel Gunn's coming right to mind when I think of breakdancing the rest of my life. And I think the country of Australia was probably a little bit horrified at watching it happen. Like, oh my God, I think they were fourth in medals in the whole tournament or the whole games. But now, all anyone's talking about Australia about is Raygun ripping up the dance floor. And also, yes, she walked out. She was cocky walking out. Her walkout, I thought right at the beginning of the clip, because I didn't know what I was about to watch, I thought she was going to crush it. She crushed it all right. She crushed it in one of the funniest ways imaginable. It made the Olympics look like a clown show. It made it look like what do we do? You could say things about certain events. I kind of dogged the luge down the one man kayak down the man-made river and whitewater rafting compared to Raygun. That was like a downhill skier going 130 miles an hour on ice.
You want to know the craziest part about it all? Is it's going back to the United States 2028 in LA, and breakdancing is no longer a part of the Olympics.
She basically got it booted from the Olympics.
No, I guess they planned that because breakdance is an important part of French culture, and that's why they wanted to implement it in that Olympics. Oh. And then after it goes viral and gets that many clicks, and the fact that it's going back to the States, where I would guarantee that the United States has the best breakdancers on the planet. Like, these people don't even do it for competition; they do it for fun, and they're doing. I was watching videos of like people in LA just doing it, and they're fucking spinning on their head 20 times. This girl sucking her thumb, like doing the Pac-Man on the mat. So I think it's ridiculous that they're taking it out, especially after it has its viral moment. Where isn't that the whole purpose? Is to garner like new eyeballs and new perspective. I don't know. You tell me, Whit. And by the way, the Canadian champion, the men's champion for breaking, Canadian, Philip. Tim.
Okay, so
we can't even represent. We get one gold medal and they take the fucking sport away.
Oh man, I just Raygun. Yeah, I was reading blogs about it. John Rich on Barstool did one. It was incredible. Apparently, she had like a PhD in breakdancing or something. He writes right here. Her PhD thesis was titled "Deterritorializing Gender in Sydney's Breakdancing Scene: A B-Girl's Experience of B-Boying." So she's been behind the scenes for a while. Now, it's similar to some really like old, short, fat, out of shape football coaches. Like, sometimes the way you look can show that you're not going to be, very good at it. Like, she doesn't really come off and fire on the scene and prove like you're not able to do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you completely. That's why I was surprised with the shooters, with the Turkish guy who had the beer belly and his hand in his pocket.
So what have you heard about that?
What do you mean? What have I heard about that?
Have people come at you that you could have no chance in shooting if you trained 6 months?
No, I think more people came at me about the horse jumping, and I've came back down to reality on that too, because I watched the horse jumping competition, and it was, that's pretty wild what those horses are able to do. It was, I think it was 30 different jumpers were in the final round. And do you understand the rules of horse jumping?
Obviously, I don't. You were telling me all you got to do is master the commands of pulling up and pushing down.
That's what I thought. And then what happens is they make the course, and then the horses, before they end up going, obviously they're used to seeing adjustments on the course. The person on the horse can go around with them and show them, but you can't stop anywhere and make it obvious. Like, you can't go to where the water part is and say, "Hey, horsey, look, take a look. Because if you make it too obvious, you get penalized. So you're allowed to gallop around, show them kind of how the course is laid out, and then you start it off. So of the 30 horse jumpers, the only people that are allowed to go to the next round are the ones who have a clean run. But you have to pass it in a certain amount of time that they establish. And any second beyond that time you go on, I believe you get punished 1 point. Every time you knock one of those things off, it's a 4-point penalty. But like I said, if you qualify for the finals, you go your one time. If you knock a pole off, your day is pretty much done. In the finals this year of the horse jumping, they had 3 people go to that final round. So it as long as you do a clean run,
you move on,
and you get within the certain amount of time, you move on to the final. And the 3 of the 30 jumpers that did it, then they go again. They change the course up. So they get a little breather. They make a smaller, condensed version of that course. Once again, they're allowed to go kind of.
They get the pregame skate.
They get the little pregame skate, go out there, and then boom, you're off and running. And it was just interesting to see how each horse would attack it differently. Some of them would have this big run up to the first fucking thing, and then knock it over. And then so they were done after one jump.
It's like, and then, like 5. That's a major first shift of the game, kicked out of the game. Like, nice game, bud.
Bingo. Exactly how. And then but some of them were smarter about conserving energy and the fact that they didn't need this big buildup where they would kind of just go around and then button hook and then go over the first jump. As soon as you go over the first jump, that's when your time starts. So it was interesting to learn all the rules and pretty fascinating with what some of these horses can do. Like how much they can kick up that back foot to avoid the last thing. And like some of the, like you got to go 3 in a row, boom, boom, boom. Definitely could not master that in 6 months.
How into that did you get? I mean, that was like the most you've known about anything since I've ever met you.
It just so happens, my good friend Jackie Carls, who just gave birth to her baby daughter Sloan, they've been hanging out at home. So I went up to finally see the baby for the first time. I couldn't even move, buddy. I was on the ground because of my back. It was the first day.
You're like, so leave the baby crying. Who cares? My back.
I can ignore bababies. I can just get to
imagine having 3 of your own with the L5S1.
I can't meditate with this back.
Hold on, let me meditate.
But it just so happens she did horse jumping. And she's like, let's watch the equestrian. And I'm like, I was just talking about this on the podcast. I go, I could learn how to do this in 6 months. She goes, Paul, look at all these people on the horses. They're all like 40, 50 years old, you moron. Is that what you told me last pod?
No, I think I compared it to like you thinking you could hop in an F1 car and rip around because it's a car and you know how to press the gas.
She brought me down to reality saying every person jumping is like over the age of 30, 40 years old minimum. So that's how it takes, like you have to be aged like a fine wine and have been doing it your whole life in order to do it professionally. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, right?
Exactly. I mean, I guess you learn something new every day. And dressage now, it's on my radar for 2028 in LA. So what would be some of your other winners in the Summer Olympics? Well, so I was just going to mention, I've made it pretty clear over the years, I'm not a huge basketball guy. Specifically, I'm not an NBA guy. I mean, yeah, I watched the Celtics at the end, but even in the finals, I think I mentioned on Chiclets, like the games just they're not super exciting to me. Maybe the very end if it's close. Those USA basketball games, I didn't see either game live. I actually saw that US was down to Serbia, 12 points in the semifinal, but I was golfing. And then I checked, I'm like, oh, I saw Twitter, like they had an amazing finish to win. And then I get to see the highlights of Steph Curry. Steph Curry might be one of the coolest athletes to ever live. If you think about, like, I usually with some of the great ones, there's people who can't stand them. I would say LeBron has a pretty
he's a polarizing guy.
Yes, he has a much bigger side of haters. Seems like Steph Curry is he's liked by all. And then he puts on this show, just draining 3 after 3. The one picture of him hitting the 3 over 2 guys, and Durant and LeBron are just wide open on the other side of the arc, and they're just looking like this. Nope, and he just chucks it up. So once I got to see the highlights of that, compared to NBA basketball, that was way better, way more thrilling. Now, obviously, the Olympics, which it kind of got me thinking of how nuts Italy's going to be in 2026, best on best.
Oh, yeah.
It turned into a discussion that there needs to be Russia there. I think personally, hockey is not going to be the same without Russia.
Let them dope. I don't give a shit.
But the best on best.
I'll stick a needle in their ass.
Yeah, the Wembiana guy on France, he's 7'11" or whatever he is, and he's just athletic as hell. So I actually enjoy it. Not, like I mentioned, didn't see it live, but watching the highlights, kind of blown away by that. I was pretty done with the Olympics after that. I mean, I've watched a bunch of it, but I was more like, all right, well, I see how once Raygun came out, it was like, all right, I think we got to wrap this thing up. And next thing you know, closing ceremonies were on my TV.
I just don't know how Steph Curry's still getting it done. Has he not been like the top of the game for 12 years now? I feel like he's been around forever. And I looked it up based on where these new salaries are going for the NBA. I think by the time he retires, he would have made $750 million just playing basketball. Because he's up at the end of next year for his deal. And I would imagine he gets carte blanche even if he's like going out of his prime. It's like, but he's not. He's not. Those guys are making, I want to say, $65, $70 million. Maybe it goes even crazier at the end of next year. My understanding is like by the end of, by the time 2030 rolls around, the top guys will be getting paid $100 million per year. Have you not heard this under the new CBA?
I haven't heard an exact number, but the NBA salaries, It is that popular. And if you're going to say that anyone's worth that, I mean, his name would immediately come to mind. Like he's that big of a figure in the game of basketball. And then he does it in the Olympics too, like totally separate from all the Golden State legendary runs he had. Just an all-time great athlete. I mean, it makes it better and better that we have a clip of him, somebody chucking him a pink Whitney nip. He crushes it and then drains, I think, a 3 into the trash can. Hopefully he recycled. We're all about the green earth here with stuff. And now forever, it's like this guy keeps becoming more of a legend. I got a video of him drinking the pink Whitney.
That was a real video?
Yeah, I think at one of the Barstool I think he played in a Barstool Golf Classic, one of the 4-play rigs events, and somebody chucked him one. He dummied it. So that was exciting. And basketball salaries. Yeah, I mean, hey, whatever. I wish hockey had bigger salaries, and it is ridiculous. McDavid makes whatever he makes, $13 million. It seems like he should make 25, but the money's obviously coming in for the NBA. It's just that big of money is not there for the NHL. Am I wrong?
He will be making 25 when they do the franchise tag that I recommended a few months ago.
You think that move there?
I think they probably wrote it down as a great idea. I think that, I think the Players Association probably listened and wrote that down as first topic to bring up, franchise tags. I talk to Jeff all the time about the Olympics. He watched pretty much all of it. He said that NBC crushed it. They're one of the real winners with bringing in Snoop Dogg and all the different stuff they did for Peacock.
He made $9.5 million. He's 500 G's a day to be over there. I thought it was the most amazing job of all time. He was over there just being Snoop, just being Snoop D-O-double-G, clowning it up in Paris, basically like ripping on events while also taking it in, making it a funny way to rip on it. And
to promote
million.
For 2028 as well. That was, I think, part of the reason why they incorporated him. It's coming back to LA where, once again, there will not be breakdancing, that Canada won on the men's side. A couple other things I wanted to mention about Canada. The 4x100 relay team took home the gold after the United States were talking shit on them at the Worlds. That Lyles guy, even though he's the fastest man on the planet, he had to eat his own words there. We won both men's and female hammer throw. So we're the best
hammer throw.
Yeah,
nice.
we're the best. We're
That's
the best
like
hammer
you back
throwers.
in junior.
It was a record summer Olympic medal take home for Canada. 27 medals total, 9 golds, and also I don't know if you saw that Alicia Newman, the blonde. She's a pole vaulter for Canada. She ended up taking home the bronze. Beautiful girl. Apparently, she's got an OnlyFans now. I don't know exactly what you get to see on OnlyFans. It could be just like her doing like pole vaulting. I don't know how promiscuous it goes, but she kind of was like maybe one of the more popular Canadians, especially as far as her looks are concerned. And once again, taking home a bronze medal in pole vaulting. I think she has a gold, a silver, and a bronze now. So not really sure what's going on her OnlyFans. I figured I'd promote that. I'm not an only. I mean,
yeah. It's like I feel like this could turn into a free subscription for you, and this is something that was all pre-planned. But I respect the hell out of this woman.
I do no. I don't have an OnlyFans account. I would. The internet exists. Why would I ever need to sign up for an OnlyFans? But
you mentioned so often you don't have an OnlyFans account to the point where it's like, why does he always mention he doesn't have an OnlyFans account?
Because I brag about the fact and that I've never ordered Uber Eats. I've never ordered Uber Eats on my phone. I'm not really good with the apps. I don't like a lot of apps on my phone.
Yeah, you like keeping that thing fresh. You don't need a lot of like icons all over your main screen, right?
I hate that. It's clutter. I don't need distractions from my goal of running in a triathlon and swimming and biking.
I don't really have anything else in the Olympics, not off the top of my head, but I did have another sporting event. Amazing theater. I guess theater could be the wrong word, but
is this the Kuchar stuff? I don't know what happened.
Did you see what Matt Kuchar did at the end of this tournament? It was the last tournament before the playoffs on the PGA Tour. So it's like the Wyndham Classic or something like that. There was so much rain from, I think it was Hurricane or Tropical Storm Debbie that was just like ripping through the country. Debbie's the funniest name for, it's not funny, but like to name
it's like
the
trailer
thing
trash
Debbie,
name.
Like my house got run over by Debbie, which isn't funny again. I'll say that again, but just the name.
It is in the context you're saying it.
So they have to basically get this course ready. Like they couldn't even play Thursday, I don't think. They got over 6 inches of rain, and they finally were able, like the grounds crew does this amazing job to do all this work. And somehow on Sunday, they're finishing. Guys finished their second round really early Sunday, played their third round, and played their fourth round. Some people had to finish the second and play the third and the fourth.
Holy shit, like 38, 39 hole golf day.
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they were playing till like 8:30, whatever.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. It was like this amazing tournament. This one guy, I know this is golf talk, but this was just bizarre. This one guy, he eagles a par 4. Gracerman, I believe his name was. Max Gracerman. He eagles a par 4. He's now 4 up in the tournament. The next hole, he makes an 8 on a par 4. Gives the lead right back. And all of a sudden, you're like, what's going on? Ends up like getting back into tied for the lead. He's on a par 3 biz. He's like 35 feet away. Now, mind you, this is all kind of part of the story because it's getting dark. And the people on TV are mentioning it's dark outside right now.
Yeah, depth perception.
You know the golf line, it's a lot darker than it looks on TV. That's like what they all say. Because you know from sandbaggers, it's dark sometimes.
Okay, fair point.
Well, he putts up and he's got about 3 feet for par. He misses it.
Oh.
He's got about 3 feet for bogey. He misses it. So he 4 putts. Okay, so Matt Kuchar, who's a longtime PGA Tour vet, is in the group. Now, there's a little backstory to Matt Kuchar. It's a long article to read. Basically, he stiffed over a caddy. This is the story that has gone pretty far. He won an event in Mexico, and he took a local caddy, and he ends up winning it. I think $1 million. We definitely talked about this on Chiclets.
Yeah, and he tipped the caddy like 10 grand.
The guy. What?
What he tipped the guy, the caddy, the local guy, like 10 grand, 15 grand?
When Kuchar won the tournament, he paid Ortiz an additional $2,000, which is a loose standard when he should have paid him $130,000 because they usually play 10%.
Yeah, like 10% of a win would have been 130 grand. And I don't know if it was definitely 5 grand or I think the caddy ended up requesting 50. It was a tough look for this Matt Kuchar. A tough look indeed. Like you need a PR team panic stat mode when this news broke. But that was a few years ago. Well, this time, the last hole of the tournament, the guy who I'm talking about, he ends up like making that double, so he's kind of out of it. And then there's this other guy, this Aaron Rye. He's English. This guy wears 2 gloves, 2 rain gloves, even when it's sunny out, and he has iron covers over his irons.
I love him already. There's my new favorite golfer.
If you see iron covers and you play golf, usually you're like, that's the worst looking golf history. And I was chirping a bit.
No, 2 gloves is.
Come to find out, I don't think he came from much money, and his parents gave him clubs, and he was so honored and took such pride in them. He kept the iron covers on, and he's never changed to this day to remember his roots. One of those, like, you feel a little bit like a dickhead when you hear the story of why he has the iron covers. Now, I still think they look horrible, but I love the fact that why he's doing it. They're still terrible, though. So this guy birdies to basically win the tournament. Kuchar's in the group behind him. It's dark. Kuchar, while these guys were waiting to hit into the final hole, he hits driver into them. Like he could have, if he hit the perfect drive, could have buried this guy right in the head. It was crazy, but it's dark. Well, then this guy goes on to birdie. He wins. I know this is kind of confusing. So the tournament's over and Rye has won, but Kuchar still has to hit in, and nobody in his group could win. I think one of the guys would have to make a 2 from 200 yards. So whatever. He hits in, this guy that's 2 back, Gracerman. And another guy hits in. Kuchar's standing there and he goes, I'm not hitting. I'm not playing any more golf today. Now, the announcers are like befuddled. What is going on right now? Why won't this guy hit? The other 2 players were given the option to finish the hole. One of the guys somewhat had a chance to win, like I said, long shot. Right. And he is like, I'm going to finish. He hit it in the bunker and got it up and down for par.
I love this.
And Kuchar's standing 200 yards back. I will not play. Forcing all of the workers, all of the staff, all of the groundskeepers, everyone that's had a long week with shit weather to come back Monday morning so he can hit his shot into 18.
No.
His whole group finished, and he goes, nope, I'm done.
Oh, the build up to the end. I'm waiting for like a chip in and what the fuck?
So it was just a move that, like for golf, in August in a not like right at the end of the regular season, not a big tournament, not big names in the tournament. It was like kind of blowing up on social media. Like this guy's pulling. I said it was an all-time hard-o move. And then he came back today, and that's the funniest part. He came back this morning. So naturally there's like one guy out there with his phone. There's no fans there. And he comes back and he looks at his ball where he'd put the tee in the ground, and he brings a rules official over. He's like, there's something in my way, like a man-made object. Like I'm gonna have to get a drop here. So he made par. Now there's some people defending him, saying by making par, he also couldn't get into the playoffs. That was another part. It's not like he's like, I'm not comfortable with my shot because I got to make a birdie and get in the playoffs.
He's probably thinking if I finish second, I can make an extra $100,000.
But he couldn't finish second. He was T12.
Right. But maybe higher. Is that
by making par? He made another $60,000. So that's a lot, right? $60,000 to anyone. He's made about $75 million. Okay, and if he made a bogey, I don't think the $60,000 is the end of the world. And what's funny is I saw a tweet. Well, that $60,000 you just made, you could send it out to the caddy in Mexico. So it was just a bizarre ending to a golf. It was a crazy random golf tournament that I got a kick out of. But I was reading about it today again. People had their opinions, as did I. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the Olympics and the golf talk. But the Olympics did remind me that maybe time to throw it over to Mark McMorris and Tyler Ennis, considering Mark McMorris is involved with the Olympics, right, Biz, for the Canadian broadcast?
Yeah. Well, Craig did actually the summer games just now. And Mark is involved in the Winter Olympics. So he's doing all the crazy snowboard jumping. And I hope that he's in the one in Italy, and that way we can meet up with him. I mean, we're planning on going to the 2026 Olympics, are we not?
No doubt. That is 100%.
I've never been to Italy before.
I would love to do that. I would absolutely, and the best on best we already talked about. But I didn't know Mark McMorris. But when did you first hear about him? Because it's interesting. We got Ennis, the hockey player, on with the professional snowboarder, but you had known about him for a while.
Yeah, just a famous Canadian athlete, and his name got out there. I think him and his brother ended up starting this like reality show where they would follow him around, and that's where Craig kind of got, I guess, his feet wet on the broadcasting side of things. I think he did. I think he did like games up and played hockey and played sports up to a certain level. But then Mark obviously is a professional, and I think that Craig kind of just like helps him out, and he's his right hand man, along with doing all the television stuff for X Games, for the Olympics, and whatever else comes his way. So they have pretty sick lives, and the snowboarding takes them all around the world. And I know it was kind of a different interview because we were bouncing back and forth between two really cool, chill guys who like to snap around and share the mic. So I look forward to having them both on again, maybe together, maybe separate. But we feel it was a fun little thing. And I think it was actually G's idea when they showed up in a crew, like, hey, why not just do them together? And I think it worked out great. So without further ado, enjoy the interview.
Guys, before we continue, I need to talk to you about G4. Have you found the perfect golf shoe yet? G4 can definitely help you with the search. I have just found the most phenomenal G4 shoe. I was sent, and I got to get the name exactly correct here, G. The men's Gallivant Tour G-Lock saddle golf shoe. I saw a picture of it scrolling through the website, texted immediately, can I get these? They're unbelievably comfortable. They look so good, very easy to clean, which I love about them. So there's just so many different styles. Their new drop has a style for everybody, whether you're seeking traditional, contemporary, or something somewhere in the middle. G4's latest selection of premium footwear has got you covered. Visit G4 to find out which shoe is you. Answer a few simple questions, and their footwear finder does this work for you. And don't forget, G4.com/chiclets. That's GFORE.com/chiclets for 10% off your first order. Your feet will thank you. So thank you to G4.
All right, now it's time for our next guest. We have our first ever Spittin Chiclets snowboarding NHL hockey player crossover here in Edmonton. Tyler Ennis, veteran of 700 games, Edmonton, Alberta native, Buffalo Sabres, Wild, Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton. He won a Western League title. He won a World Championship gold. His good buddy, Mark McMorris, a three-time Olympic bronze medalist, Canadian legend from Regina, Saskatchewan. Two good Western boys here for you. What do you got to say, Biz?
That's a hell of a fucking intro, Merles. Couple clicks for Mer. Let's go.
Not too many.
Welcome to the podcast, boys.
What was your first Olympics? Sochi?
2014.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, last time the NHL was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was good times.
How do you two guys know each
Russia
other?
was the best.
You liked it?
Yeah, Enzo and I introduced by the Bearman.
Yeah,
Tyson Barrie.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tyson Barrie. Good friend of the program,
Yeah,
Tyson
yeah.
Barrie. He's got the chili ones we were drinking out in Gretzky's
I never
basement
had
in
'em.
Toronto. Oh, you were
I
on
was
him
on
then.
sober streak 9 months. But I texted him. I said, "Hey, I'll be back in Victoria where he resides." And I said, "We'll enjoy some at VGC."
Yeah.
Which you've had the pleasure of golfing because you went to his wedding last summer.
Right.
And what were your thoughts?
Amazing. Great course, great wedding. And Tyson, all-time guy, and chili ones, I mean, that's the beer of the future right there.
Biz, you did 9 months?
Just over 9 months during the hockey
you.
season.
But he's mangled on weed all day, so it's not like he's like sober.
THC is healthy.
I'm a self-medicator with the cannabis. I went to RA's School of Medicine. Who's sitting this one out because
Hey,
Rose
that's
is joining?
fine, buddy.
Yeah.
A lot of travel. You can't be drinking it.
Yeah, the booze is what fucks me up.
Well, it's poison, right?
It is, yeah. Yeah, but I love it.
Hi, dude.
But I really like
Besides Pink Whitney.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As the head here, I'm going to try to reel this back
Yeah,
in and
reel
get some
back in.
hockey talk. The fans are
Okay.
probably losing their minds.
So we're going to focus more on Tyler's
No,
hockey
just
career.
a quick start hockey here. No, this isn't live, so we can take something out if you want.
right,
But
let's move
Enzo,
on.
small guy. Back when the small guys weren't coming in, you got in there. First round pick, Buffalo. Tell us about that Western League championship that led to you getting drafted, or was that after draft? Or
That was
draft?
before. So the year before I was drafted, we won the Dub Championship. We lost the Mem Cup final, but great team. I mean, we had Derek Dorsett, Chris Russell, Darren Helm, Willie Desjardins was the coach.
What team was that?
Medicine Hat Tigers.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I remember Pittsburgh Cup final, Darren Helm. He was on Detroit. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
He
Like,
came straight from Med Hat, I think.
Really?
Right into that. Yeah.
I didn't know much about him, and then he turned into a hell of a player. He
Yeah.
was trucking people, too.
2 cups. But just great kind of old school team, junior team, just kind of grinded it, loved each other. I mean, we were a good group. We still hang out. I mean, there's like 15 of us going to Medicine Hat to chill in a month. So it's a really tight group.
You can do the mushroom treasure.
That's not, no, just beers.
No hills to run around in medicine.
It's just beers.
Yeah, what's MedHat like? It's just small.
The best.
The best?
The best, yeah.
Slow pace?
Have you been to
Great
Med Hat?
water slides when you come out to the mountains from Saskatchewan.
So it's
You're
a little-
right through Med Hat.
A little.
Usually overnight there and
Yeah.
do water slides at the travel lodge.
It's a little oasis. You're driving down, there's nothing around you, and then Med Hat just appears out of nowhere. Great place. Best people.
Selling out every game. You guys
Yeah,
are
we had
rolling.
4,006 seats, and I played there 4 years, and we sold out every single game.
Best
So-
thing in town.
So your draft year was the year you won the Dub. So that's
No, I
what-
was a late birth year. The next year.
Oh,
Was
okay.
my draft year. Yeah.
And did you have expectations of going in the first round? Like, had you been hearing enough through the agent and the combine where that's where you expected to go?
Yeah, but for me it was weird. Like I just kind of I walked on Med Hat as a walk on.
Really?
So I wasn't drafted in junior. I was super small. I just kind of grinded it all the way there, and then we had a really good team, and it just kind of happened really quickly. And then we won, and the next year I kind of took another step, and
Happened quick.
next
then.
thing I know, I'm like rated to go in the first round, and so it happened super fast for me.
So for a smaller guy that's like walking on to Med Hat, did you ever consider college, or was like as a Western kid you're like, oh,
sure.
really?
Yeah, I mean, I was good. I mean,
You could
The-
have
the-
done
yeah.
college.
hang on. let me. The plan
For working hard.
A couple of clicks.
in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to college now. Realistically, I didn't have the grades, but like the plan was, okay, you don't get drafted to the Dub, you got to start thinking college. So I was like, okay, where am I going to go? I loved Marty St. Louis. He went to Vermont. I was immediately thinking, okay, I want to go play for Vermont.
Really?
Small guys.
Yeah. Olympic
coach at
ice up
Vermont's
there.
like, fuck.
Yeah.
Not tough academic standards. Yeah, perfect fit for you.
So that was the plan. And then my dad was
Burls
like,
is chirping. Burls is getting chirping.
my dad was like, why don't you go try out for Medicine Hat, show them how good you are, and prove it to them and then make a decision. No expectation, just go show them like they messed up, like the dub messed up.
How'd you get invited there? Like what was specific to Medicine Hat?
Well, so Medicine Hat won, I think the year before that with Clark MacArthur and stuff. They won, and so Willie was the coach. They had a smaller team, so that was basically the influence. They were good, and they weren't as prejudiced for size.
Yeah, they'll give a guy a chance.
Exactly. So my dad was like, go prove how you're skilled, and then make a decision. And it worked out. And Medicine Hat was, the best decision I made. I love Medicine Hat, and I owe a lot to that city for sure, and that organization. So,
yeah, you played with Spurgeon. Was that in Medicine Hat, or was that before growing up? Another small guy that went through a lot of adversity to finally make it.
Yeah,
and he's nasty.
So much, yeah. So Jared and I grew up together since we were 5 years old, lived across the street from each other.
Really?
Yeah. So played on every team together, walked to school together, the whole story. Great story. Two guys that were super small, got cut from teams, just grinded together and just really close best buddies that just kind of helped each other make it in different ways.
Street hockey every day, you two.
And my path was super tough, but Jared's was even harder because like I said, I kind of got, when I was 18, I was like, oh shit, I might go in the first round. Jared was like still grinding, played as a 20-year-old in Spokane, always the best player, but no one noticed because he was tiny. Won a Mem Cup, still didn't get a lot of, drafted late by the Islanders. They didn't sign him. So he signed,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. He's
so
got a
he
crazy
did.
path.
So he was thinking of going to Europe as like a 21-year-old because he was like, yeah, there's nothing for me. And then got a tryout with Minnesota at the Traverse City camp. Played well. Minnesota gave him like a small deal. Played in the A for like 20 games. They called him up and he never went back.
And he's captain now.
Yeah, captain now. So
We love a story like that.
That is awesome.
yeah. But he grinded, but he was always the best. That's what's crazy about hockey. Like, Jared was always the best, and it felt like for so long, the only people that knew that were, his family and my family.
Yeah, if he's 6'1" that entire time, he's going top 10. So
100%.
it's like, and you're seeing this as 5, 6 years old growing up. You're like, this guy can play. What are these people doing? And you probably thought it for yourself too. Like, I can play. I don't get this.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it was tough, but you just kind of keep grinding away, and it worked out. But yeah, fun path.
Was he open to you about it? Like, was he like pretty frustrated at the time? And then like seeing you'd had the success, were you guys that close where he was bouncing all his frustration off you? Or
we were so like, it was crazy. Like I would have success and then it would stop, and then he would have success and it would stop. And we were such good friends that we were just kind of always helping each other,
And hyped for each other.
Super hyped for each other, always hyped for each other, always knew each other were really good. And so I mean we were each other's support because we would get cut and then we would just kind of do it together. So it was pretty cool. Like, it's a cool story.
We don't want you sitting there too long, Mark. This first ever crossover, so we're going to shoot right over to the snowboarding.
I'm a big hockey guy, and I want to know when you guys started talking about like roller hockey.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm saving that. Hey, don't steal the real scoop on me early, Mark. Let's talk about you and your snowboarding. Does size have anything to do with you getting into snowboarding instead of hockey?
And did you play up into a certain age and you were just better at snowboarding?
buddy, I was playing AAA hockey till I was like 12 or 13, had a shit coach. Really nice guy, but you don't, in Saskatchewan, they just take it way too serious at a young age.
I think that's everywhere now.
Oh, yeah. But times
Sucks.
back then, I think it was a little bit more fun elsewhere. If you're in Saskatchewan, more NHL players per capita, right? So hockey parents are a real thing there, even back in 2002, you know? When I'm playing and I have this really intense coach, I'm an assistant captain of this Pee Wee AAA team, and I step on the ice. I don't have my neck gaiter on. He makes me skate for 45 minutes back and forth. And I'm like, and I was already getting some opportunities through the snowboard world.
Okay.
Because I was snowboarding since I was 5 years old, but it's more of a weekend thing. And then, I was just like, fuck that.
Excuse me for not knowing. Is Regina like...
But I love the game. and I still follow it closely. Some of my best friends are NHLers.
Is Regina like? Is there big mountains there, or is that?
No, but I like.
I never. Is that the Canadian?
I don't even know.
Dude.
I'm Canadian. I don't even know. I've driven through it. And I still don't even know.
Saskatchewan was just flat.
No, it is flat. It's just green ferns, and then it just drops into a valley, and there's a lake in the bottom, and that's a lot of the ski hills, and that's enough to learn fundamentals if you're psyched on it. There's parks at all those little hills. And that's kind of what I do. I ride slopestyle, which is jumps and rails. Figured it out at a young age. And it was cool. Like, hockey was tough because you're just only with these donkeys your age. But then you go hang out with all these older kids.
Yeah.
You're learning things. You're growing up quicker.
Yeah.
And then I just started getting opportunities. And I was starting getting paid.
5 years old?
15 years old. I was a pro snowboarder since I've been 15. I'm 30. Half my life.
That's so you're watching, actually, like, say you're like 7 years old at these, but there's 14-year-olds that you're learning from, and then you ended up becoming the best.
Learning certain things.
Yeah. You're growing up off the snowboard too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So you said 5 years old was when you started on the snowboard?
Yep. But like, what was I when I started playing hockey? 2?
No, I know, but like, so who got you? Like, how did you get involved? Did you see some of those mixtapes?
Okay,
like,
so this is really lucky. My neighbors that grew up next to us, they were quite a bit older than us, but they were big skateboarders. So they gave me a skateboard when I was super young. That's like the first thing I got sponsored in was skateboarding. But our winters are too long in Canada. So I just transitioned into snowboarding. I was loving it. I was snowboarding a lot, playing hockey a lot. And I just, I don't know if I made the right decision, but I think I did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you did.
There's a lot of, if you play in the show, you're staying in North America 90% of the time. Couple exhibition games, whatever. Dude, I do laps around this world.
Where's the funnest place?
I've met so many, and I've experienced so many different cultures. But like I said, some of the funniest guys I know, best guys I know.
Oh, hockey boys. Yeah, hockey boys.
And I'm still very attached to the sport.
I'm sure snowboarders are the exact same way.
You guys would love them. We gotta get more boarders.
Well, I don't know the name. One of the best documentaries ever is about a snowboarder that was traveling. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Who were your influences? Like, we don't know much about it. Like, who's the surfer?
Dude, any great
Slater,
great athlete. Yeah, Kelly Slater's 52 years old, still on the world tour. He's just like you feel bad if you're having a beer around him. The guy is just perfect.
He's a machine.
But then he actually came in on a tequila company, and he said he does like a good añejo.
So who would be the version in snowboarding who kind of is just that standard? Who maybe, was that the guy you looked up to?
You have Slater, you have Tony Hawk, and in snowboarding, like Sean is the biggest name.
The redhead.
Shaun White, yep. But he hasn't given back to the sport like a Kelly Slater or Tony Hawk.
Wow.
The art of
He's
flight.
He's a big guy. Travis Rice has given back to the sport a lot. But Craig and I kind of take that upon ourselves. Us as brothers, as Canadians, as big names in the sport, we try and give back in the ways we can. And Craig's more on the gift to gab side, like you boys. And he's done some good things. Like you're probably, do you think you're a better hockey player than Bill?
Oh my God.
For sure. Now, here's the thing. Toughness-wise.
Ball hockey, though.
Toughness-wise. Well, I don't even play ball hockey. I got no ankles. Toughness-wise, he owns me. So that's a big part of hockey. But if you actually want to have the puck and not turn into a square and move it up the ice, you take me. You take me. Yeah, I just fought. I couldn't fight my way out of a wet paper bag.
This is the perfect segue. You bring up ball hockey. Biz has the worst ball hockey team in North America. But this is the guy. This was my secret weapon. I was trying to tell you I wanted to sign.
Yeah, buddy. Invitation.
On feet or rollerblades?
Invitation.
Feet.
Whoa, really?
Edmonton's pretty hardcore feet ball hockey, yeah.
Harry Ryan said he's the best player not like on the Canadian national team.
I'll give you my spot, and I'll go healthy scratch on my own team just to give you a spot on the big
because you were going to get
for sure.
Okay.
I was just playing, so I don't know. It's busy.
No, they're all feet.
But I'll come.
Now he's retired, just finished up in Switzerland and Germany, so he's in London in September, Big Deal Select. You could get a title if you bring him in.
Okay.
Wow.
What made you hang him up? Like, was it just you weren't feeling good the body?
Ball hockey or
No, ice hockey. Ice hockey.
He got absolutely raw.
I just kind of was done. I was just done. Everything was finished. I got hurt in Germany. I was playing in Germany. I fucked up my neck, and
You got
the rehab.
clip.
The rehab.
Did you get run over?
No, opposite.
He tried to run over.
Yeah, it was a. It actually, if
You
show
don't
the-
hit in Europe as an import? What are you doing?
It's an outrageous clip. If you see the clip, you'll be like, "That's so stupid."
Like you just tried to just kill someone.
Not
Kind
your
of a
game.
weird one.
I
I was
said
like,
it's
I
emphasis
went
all
full like Rey Mysterio. Like, I basically like jumped and like I like did a crazy choke slam move, but I got the worst of it. I ended up with a
Karma.
neck brace, So I realized I can't be doing Rey Mysterio moves in Germany when I'm 34.
No.
It's over. It's over.
Bad look.
I go, what are you doing, bro? I'm doing treatment in Hoffenheim, Germany with a neck brace on, and like elderly women are doing rehab with me, and I'm like, this is time.
This is it.
You gotta trust when this is the time, and I'm like, okay, this is the time.
Wait, you had your moment. That sounds like a kind of what your
was
moment
your
was
moment?
like.
Which with my
He made it 7 games in his last season. What was yours?
Yeah, so mine was
Dash five.
mine was 1 game in Sweden on the road. We started -3 or -2. 2 nights later, home opener, -3 in the first period, including like the biggest pizza of all time. And then I got to the bench and I said, "Hey, I'm done." And the guy's like, "Yeah," and the guy's like, "What?" And I was like,
This is
"That's
can't do
it."
I remember.
But like you said,
That's the way to
like
go,
you
eh,
said,
Mark?
like I was so just done.
You
I
know
was
when
just,
you know.
I'm done. I'm done.
Mid game is just classic.
Then I sat on the bench for 2 periods, just rooting the boys on.
I remember DJ Smith was my coach in Ottawa, and he was like, when you lose the raisies is when you can't play anymore. And I'm like, raisies? What does he mean, raisies? And he's like, when you don't raise the puck anymore, when you shoot it, you're done. And I swear to God, I was in Germany, and I like
Couldn't raise it.
I was like, fuck, I haven't raised the puck in 4 games.
I can't lift it.
Every time I shoot it, I'm just whipping it along the ice. I'm like, I'm done.
It's amazing. It goes so quick
I
too.
can't
You're like,
even
it's over.
raise the puck
raisies?
anymore. The raisies are gone.
We might have to rethink this big deal selects invite. I can't raise
I'm not good anymore.
But was it something where I will say part of that, I called my dad right after the game, and that was the emotional part. Like, did you have a moment after where you were like, "Wow, it's over," or was it more just?
Mine was a bit of a slow bleed. I mean, for me, it was
Okay.
like, I mean, I went to Switzerland because I like Switzerland.
Best
I
country in the world.
never thought I'd end up in Germany.
Yeah, did you not get an offer to go back to that burn team?
Nope.
Really?
No. So
couldn't raise the
I
puck.
mean, the alarm bells are going off there. When you're not getting calls to go back, you're like, okay, maybe
Point
I
a
don't
game
have
in Switzerland, still not getting a call.
Yeah,
Something's
so
wrong.
I don't know. Like, it was time.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, you did great. We don't want to talk about the end. We start in Buffalo. That's where I met you. You know, you were following Conley around like a lost puppy, basically just trying to learn from him.
The GM's like, "No."
Yeah, and that's where I meet him at the bar. Conley went off belligerent at the bar, and that's where we met, and we've been like great friends since. And
Right.
just tell us more about that Buffalo team and that city and that whole experience.
Yeah, I love Buffalo. I mean, as a guy from Edmonton, going to Buffalo is the easiest transition ever. They're the same cities. It's just one's in
Siberia
America.
East to Siberia West.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So it was super easy for me. Great people, blue collar town, super fun hockey style. We were playing then in Buffalo. It was all offense. Lindy was playing tons of offense. So I couldn't have been in a better spot. Timmy was my stallmate. You know, I was actually a pretty big fan of Timmy growing up. So being able to sit next to him, play with him was cool. And also he was super funny dude. So
That first year, you lit up the AHL, and then you actually had a point per game in 10 games in the NHL. Was that call up at the end, or was it like different games throughout the season?
I got called up in November, scored my first game in Philadelphia, sent back down for the rest of the season in the A, and then I got called up for 10 games with Buffalo, and then playoffs. And then
That's unreal. So it was a quick adjustment for you.
yeah,
That's
quick.
cool.
It was quick, but it was good because like Lindy was great in that he put me in a role right off the hop. I was
Offensive role.
offensive guy. He played me a first line, second line, power play. You know, some guys different. They get called up different organizations. You got to grind in the fourth line. If that happens to me, I might not be a 13-year NHL guy. So it was a good situation.
Well, it is one of those it goes back to we've talked before. Like you call up a skill first liner from the AHL, you put him on the fourth line. Like
what is that?
You call up a third or fourth liner from the AHL team to do that.
Yeah,
and luckily that didn't happen to you. That's cool.
I understand if that's your style,
Yeah,
but if you call up a guy and he's a skill guy, and you put him on the fourth line and play 8 minutes, I don't really understand what that's about.
And then it happens all the time.
Do you think Lindy's going to be a good hire for them coming back? Same.
Well, and like, was he instrumental in your development? Was he an easy guy to communicate with, especially as a young guy coming in?
Like in hindsight, yeah. I mean, he was tough, but like after playing for 15 years, and I look back on it, he was exactly what I couldn't have had a better opportunity for myself. Lindy, like I said, played me on the second line, power play as a 20-year-old guy. Didn't get crazy pissed off if I turned it over. I mean, he did, but like he didn't stop.
He would bury
playing
you.
me. Exactly.
Yeah.
So other coaches.
Would he call you in if you were having a tough stretch? Would he say it in front of the team?
I mean, I don't know if you've talked about it before, but I mean, Lindy did have reputation of getting intense. He was an intense coach, but with me, he was super good. So I got nothing but great things to say about Lindy.
He's like, this kid's too chill. I can't. It's not going to work.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's like, Lindy, why are you mad at me right now, dude? McMorris is looking to snowboard, bro.
You know where I get that hat?
It sounds like he's going to be good because they have a lot of young, skilled guys that maybe need a little bit of whip, a little bit that be accountable.
Yeah, so I guess my concern was he just kind of had that experience in New Jersey where now it's, he's still going to a younger team, right? And it didn't work in New Jersey with probably better weapons. So I maybe question his older methods from the way that you're explaining.
Yeah.
But it seems like he was pretty good with you in a sense that, like I said, not a lot of centering out and rage, more just communication and tough love.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I look at New Jersey and they kind of they got young pieces with skill, so I don't know. It's been 13 years or whatever since I had Lindy, and people change and, develop differently. But for me, a young, skilled guy, he was awesome. So I think the only thing I would say was that maybe defensively, X and OZ, we weren't perfect compared to other teams. So if that gets figured out, I mean, that's probably what Buffalo needs a little bit. They're a little bit loose out there. So,
and I can see Biz is getting all horned up because we're almost at the Maple Leafs. But before we get to the Leafs, before we get there, we got to stop in quick. You stopped in Minnesota, and the only reason I want to talk about Minnesota because we got to go back and you got to play with Spurge there. Tell us how special that was for both families.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it wasn't a great year for me. It was tough because I was super hyped up to go play with Jared. It was like a movie script for us. We're like, dude, can't believe it. Let's go win the cup together. Didn't work out that way. I didn't have a good relationship with Bruce, the coach. It was not good. To be with Jared in the NHL was sick. It was amazing. But my time in Mini wasn't great.
What did Boudreau not love about your game?
Probably my height and weight.
Tough to change those things.
Yeah. But it wasn't great, but Minnie's a great city. Good time with Spurge.
Was that the first time in your career maybe where you felt like you were kind of like maybe not getting the opportunity because of that size? Or like had there been other times in like growing up where it was kind of like pigeon toss because
I was used to that growing up because like that was the prejudice my whole life. But once I got to the NHL and I was playing, like my best years were the early years, so I was like, okay, I got over that hump.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, and then it didn't because then I went to Minnesota and I knew that it was an issue with Bruce.
Was it a sign or a trade?
It was a trade. It was me and Marcus Foligno for Pominville and
that was that deal.
And Scandella. Yeah.
It's crazy though that obviously the GM at the time, who would have been Fletcher,
yeah,
he brings you in. Like, I always wonder, why don't you maybe discuss with the coach? Like,
dude, that's the craziest
the coach could have been
thing.
like, I'm not going to play him.
It's the craziest thing because the first day I met Bruce goes, "Hey, Tyler," blah, blah, blah. He goes, "You're not going to get any bigger." It's the first thing he said to me.
Oh shit! You're like, no.
It's the first thing he said to me.
An opener.
I thought he was
4 years old.
I thought he was joking, so I was like, yeah. And then he just walked away. I was like, oh, shit. And it turned out to be,
He was laying it down for you.
a bit of the case, yeah. I mean, I did play loose, but that wasn't the reason.
But you played hard.
I definitely
played hard.
for sure. So that pissed me off. That was tough, especially because I needed to be good then. Like that was like I was coming off some bad injuries. I was super stoked to play with Spurge, and it was an important year for me. Kind of like a
make or break a little bit.
That point in your career where you're like, you either succeed and you keep going, or you start to taper off.
Yeah,
that was kind of the beginning of tapering.
Yeah,
I had to fight to get it back. So yeah, it was. But everybody goes through that. I mean, every player goes through situations like that.
Here it is, Biz.
I was going to say a nice segue over to Mark would be maybe some setbacks.
Yeah, let's talk.
Just like snapping around. You talk about that being a setback. I'm sure you've had plenty in your career. Injuries is probably the number one thing for snowboarding. Like, how many injuries or surgeries have you had?
Yeah, injuries, and then also
just wait. You were talking about documentaries about snowboarders. You got a documentary about Mark.
Really?
What do you got here?
No, but it's
one in 2014 that was made. I think it was made with CBC, which is called Making Your Mark, and then one in conjunction with Red Bull and CBC for the 2018 games called Unbroken, because in 2017 I just absolutely whacked a tree.
Really?
No way, no.
Holy shit.
Almost lost my life for sure. Bunch of days in VGH, ICU. Really lucky that I was able to actually recover from that and not have hella permanent damage.
What was the actual, what trick were you trying? Where was this?
I just kind of zigged when I should have zagged, and my edge dug in too deep on this backcountry jump, and I just hit a tree out of midair. 17 bones at once. Spleen, collapsed lung. Not good. Wouldn't recommend it.
A medevac, helicopter to a...
Craig McMorris actually saved my life. He had a sat phone with us and got the heli in there, and you have 90 minutes when you rupture your spleen, and they got to me like I heard it was the 82nd minute. But
do you remember anything? Were you knocked out?
Well, I just remember fighting, like trying to stay alive. And then as soon as I heard the blades, I just night.
Wow. Yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Fuck, dude. That's
but
was it hard? Was it hard?
Size and age, just to kind of circle back to what Tyler said, that like I live in a young man's sport, and it's crazy what like people think and say, and you have to beat the odds. Like you've been hurt too much, you've been this, blah, blah, blah. And even leading into the 2022 Olympics and all the events leading up to that, people are like, you should just stay in the backcountry and just film. And if you actually have your mind set on something, you just got to go do it.
Yeah, you're not stopping.
And you wanted to play in the NHL more.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go more to Olympics. And that's what I'm doing. And even since I've been in Edmonton, I've been at like Game 1 in Van, Game 7 in Van, been at pretty much every game at home for the Stars. Here now, we're doing this thing for NHL. Craig and I are mic'd up on the glass tomorrow. I agree. We love the game. It's summertime. I'm not going snowboarding until I go to Chile in a month. It's like every single person in Edmonton are like, you gonna go to another one? Like you're hanging it up, right? Even Connor, I saw him in the Friends and Family Lounge the other night. He's like, aren't you done? Haven't you made enough money? I'm like, come in from you, bud.
Yeah. How long after that accident were you off your snowboard? And was it hard after? Like, there's got to be some. Yeah. There's got to be something in your mind after.
Okay. So
how do you have the balls to get back in the saddle?
I've asked this question a couple times. When you heal physically, you heal mentally. Of course, when I got hurt, I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. But that's just you talking to yourself because you're literally on your deathbed. And then you get back in physio 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and you start to heal physically, and then your mind starts to heal, and then you start missing what you used to do, and then you're like, damn, I want some more of that.
Or let me ask you, like NHL, you're injured, you have your PA insurance, they're covered, and you've made a lot of money, but are you paying for all that, or like?
And then that's why we give kudos to them.
To Red Bull.
Fucking shout out to a couple clicks for Red Bull, boys. Yeah, a couple clicks. There we go.
Do you?
They're insane. They treat us like we play in the not even the NHL, the NBA, European Soccer League.
But they're German.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, to Dietrich.
Let's see your six pack.
Dietrich was super good to me. He owned Red Bull. He signed off on every contract I've ever had. And when I would get hurt, he'd put me up in a beautiful apartment in Vancouver, and I'd go to the state of the art rehab facility called Fortius, which was where I'd see Nuge every day. Nuge's brother would help me.
I worked out there.
Damian Maroney. I'd see.
I saw you there too.
Yeah, Raptors were there.
Oh yeah.
And like everyone was there. Golfers, everything. Underwater treadies.
Celebrini.
Yeah.
Right?
Buddy.
The way he would draw up what was going on in the body on my buddy, you're fucking speaking.
Is this Celebrini's dad? Rick?
I think that they're brothers,
Rick's.
aren't they?
Rick Celebrini.
Who was
Well, Macklin Celebrini is going to be the first overall pick, and his dad has worked in like body and
worked for the Golden State Warriors as like a physio.
But they're from Van.
Anyways, all
Makes
the
sense.
best. Like they had a line of it was like surgeons, physiotherapy, massage therapy, personal trainers, and you could see everyone in the same day. And they brought me back from my femur when I hit the tree, from pretty well every injury. They opened in like 2013, and they closed down in 19. So like my two massive injuries, I was at Fortius every day, and Red Bull would just make it so.
That's
nice.
awesome.
And
that's awesome.
Like, they have made action sports like this.
Yeah.
And they treat it, if you're on Red Bull, I don't think Monster or rock stars, they're like, hopefully you'll be back at the after party soon. Like where Red Bull is just.
Oh no, I hope we don't have Rockstar as a sponsor coming up.
You should have got him out of Munich Red Bull instead of going to Mannheim.
That's what I was going to say. Munich Red Bull. Pinizzato was there and said they treated you.
In Austria at Red Bull HQ, and their rink and facility for like it's like
that's the Austrian Hockey League. Yeah.
I think the big deal.
If you go there and play for Red Bull, you're living the dream.
Oh yeah, it's unreal. I think we're gonna go there for a big deal Selects training camp, Tyler. So I hope you're free a couple weeks before.
You guys should go
train at the high altitude.
That would be awesome.
But also but the mind frame though, like you have to be tapped to be doing these fucking somersaults in the middle of the air and then landing. So to get your mind back there after experiencing like a traumatic accident like that, how long does that take? Or do you not lose?
Well, no. I think yes, of course, I'm tapped in the brain.
Yeah,
but what do you think?
Oh yeah,
he's tapped.
We know.
The whole world knows that's been listening now too.
Hey, so like I said, as you heal physically, you heal mentally. But that's what I love to do. It's like you guys going out for a shift. I'd be terrified to go out for a shift and get absolutely bodied by Biz. You know, that's scary. I'd probably break every bone in my body if that happened. But I have the most, like all of us pro snowboarders have crazy air awareness. Any action sports athlete, you think about the skateboarder, kickflip, backflip down at 16 stair handrail. How the hell did you do that? But that's what you just grow up doing. How the hell do you play a shift in the NHL? That's what you guys grew up doing, you know, and you just become comfortable in those situations. And it sounds crazy that I jump what I jump, but like
to you, it's not.
If you do that a lot in your life, and that's what I've done, you get comfortable.
Maybe the stupidest question, but do you when you're original? Thank you. When you're original, you should. If you listen to the show, there are some dumb
I'm
ones.
hanging out with a bunch of hockey players. I don't expect you guys.
Okay, well, let me ask you. So
the
the crazy flips and the tricks and like when you're trying a new one, are you ever trying them and like landing in a pool or like? Are you ever trying them early where like whatever happens in it, you won't get injured?
Oh,
is that dumb?
Tons of time when I was a little kid, I was on O'Neill before I got on Burton in 2011. Been on Burton for 15, Red Bull 15, Oakley 15. But before that, I was on O'Neill, and their HQ is in Quebec. So I would hang out in Quebec a lot, and we'd go to Circus Olay, their training facility, and we're doing a lot of that. And that really helped me gain a ton of air awareness. And then and then I kind of did it on my own. I had a really good idea of how to figure out tricks and do this, do that. I was a lot of snow to snow. But now they have these like turf things that you can edge like skis and snowboards really well.
So the technologies
into airbags, they're all over the world. But I used to like kind of hate on that, but now I'm like, I can't beat them. I gotta join. And I want to go to one more game, so I gotta get.
Oh,
on
so
it.
you're saying
I gotta get on the bag.
So you could test things where
The
you would have been
airbag,
like,
with no consequence.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's a little bit. You can land on your head and it's probably gonna hurt.
where those people used to be like a little soft to you.
Yeah,
like,
and they couldn't learn the tricks I could
like
because they didn't have the kahunas or the mind power to figure it out and know that when you try that for the first time, you're gonna fucking land it.
You want a good analogy? It's the bull riders who put the helmets with the cages on.
Yeah.
don't they have to wear
Did they
those
use
now?
Bauer?
No, but you go back old school. I'm saying is though. Imagine like 50 years ago, a bull rider imagining a guy wearing a hockey helmet. You would have laughed.
Well,
your
imagine
Wear a hockey helmet. Those things don't do anything.
Imagine Craig
I know,
McTavish.
it just pushes the metal cage into your face more.
Like, why don't you use a moto helmet?
So,
if you're gonna wear one?
last snowboarding question specific to the tricks. Like, what's the craziest thing you've been able to accomplish? Did you ever like invent a move or something where like you became like that's the Mark McMorris move?
Yes, I have invented a trick that became like a staple in our sport if you wanted to do well in the events that I do. And it's funny how like I like did it in 2011 and then every single person had to know how to do that trick.
It's like the Michigan in hockey now.
Yeah, that guy learned how to pick the puck up.
You
like
were the
that.
guy.
What was the move?
It was a backside triple cork 1440.
First person in the world to land it.
Holy shit!
Can you try to describe it to a hockey
Say you're
fan?
going, are you regular foot or goofy?
Oh, I don't even know what.
Well,
what do you
when
mean?
you step
He's
on
just
a
goofy.
skateboard, you put your left foot in front of you.
But
Don't tell me you've never stepped on a skateboard.
I don't trust a skateboard.
Well, Bill, imagine
much.
right now how you'd get
I
on
would
it.
say it would be awkward on both sides. I think I would put my left on and then use
front.
my right to
yeah,
pedal.
okay.
Yeah, so you're normal.
So normal or to whatever to fucking do.
Okay,
to
so
skate.
you stand regular. So say you're going off the jump, you're standing left foot forward, and then you would turn your back, so you'd spin backside, so to your right.
Triple.
You're going off the jump this way, in the biz,
Yeah.
and then you're leading
I
with
go
your front.
this way?
Yeah.
No way.
And you
Okay.
do
3 of them.
3 fucking
No,
times.
4 rotations and 3 flips. But now it's like getting to almost the point where it's like acrobatics. And these people that spend their whole summer in China, Asia, or Japan or Australia and just do that all summer and don't come to NHL games and have fun. They don't even know how to edge. If you drop them off in a helicopter, they're never going to get down.
They
the
like
mountain,
specialize.
but their acrobatics are here. So that's what our sport has sort of like
Kind of
become.
like McDavid in a sense for hockey.
Yeah, but no, McDavid's a real hockey player.
Yeah.
You
He's
these
saying
people
that they
aren't
can do it
They're,
when-
they're aerialists. That China's like, hey, you're really good at gymnastics. You should learn how to just get down this in run and get off this jump, and you will do the best tricks you can.
But there's more that goes into it.
Yeah, snowboarding is much more.
Yeah,
than that.
I know what you're saying.
Thank you.
I know exactly what he's saying. Like it's somebody who can master it.
He thinks I'm speaking Mandarin.
No. I get what you're saying.
fucking listen to you.
Well, no, but the McDavid comparison was brutal.
Well, I meant more like they're doing all those tricks.
You're talking about you're talking about like an
Yes, but he-
Instagram
but he-
skill guy.
But he implements it in a game where you're
Yeah,
saying,
because he's a good hockey player.
Both their names start with
guy,
Mick
too.
too,
Sorry
so
for
good
fucking
job
up the
there,
analogy
Fizz.
there.
You know,
Mark, sorry for
I don't
ruining
want to
your
put
day.
that on McTitties.
Yeah.
McJesus, Mc.
Well, you said
Morris.
you said
Call him
but
McDustin
so
sometimes. I don't think he likes
He
that.
ain't Dustin.
No, not at all. Well, I meant like he's dusting by guys like
Oh yeah,
skirt.
he is Dustin.
Yeah.
Perfect segue here. We're going to jump right
Yeah,
back to
back over.
Tyler
Sorry,
with the
Tyler.
Edmonton Oilers. You got to play with McDavid. Before that, you did play with Matthews. Can you like give a little comparison on both players? Or any similarities, big differences in both those players?
I would say the similarities are that they're so unattainably good. You know what I mean? Like the first time I saw Matthews, it was just a skate in Toronto. And I remember, like, I was drafted as a skill guy. My whole life, everyone's like, oh, you got so much skill, you know? I skate with Auston, and I was like,
What the hell?
He's way more skilled than me, and he's 6'3", jacked, and he shoots the puck like Joe Sakic. You know what I mean? So you're like, this is a different beast right here. He's got Patrick Kane's skill, shoots the puck. So first of all, just their natural talent is crazy. Connor, same deal. First practice with Connor, you're like, that's not a human. You know what I mean? So
a mutant.
And then on top of that, you guys probably all know the guys that are the best of the best. They're different off the ice.
They live it.
Yeah, they live it. It's their life, and they're the best at, eating right before you even know. I didn't know what a carb was until I was 25. You know what I mean? I didn't know.
Besides the ones in the beers.
Right, but I didn't even know what a protein or a carb was, blah, blah, blah. Those guys are getting treatment, every day. They're just so dialed in, and they just want to be the best. For me, making the NHL was the goal. For them, being the best is the goal. So those guys are different. They're different animals.
I love what you say about seeing them at summer skates, because same thing, when Crosby got drafted, I was going to Pittsburgh camp, and it was more about like, I just want to see him play. First scrimmage, or first time he was like warming up in a exhibition game or practice in camp. You're just those people, you see it.
Yeah, you see
it could be
right
10 seconds. You're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah,
it's
you just
amazing.
You're like, okay, I got 3 years left. Maybe. You're like, okay,
I got to get on this guy's line.
You also had Eichel too, right? So
had Eichel right off the bat. Yeah.
I want to go back to Ryan O'Reilly and him after, but I was going to ask. You said your experience in Minnesota wasn't good. Did you find joy in playing again quickly when you were in Toronto?
100%.
Like right away?
I loved Toronto. Toronto was the opposite of Minnesota. So Minnesota to me was a dream to play with my best buddy. I would say the locker room wasn't great.
Where it needed to be.
It wasn't like a team where, it was all boys. I went to Toronto, and that was different. Everyone was like this. We were having fun together. We all got along. And you don't all have to get along, but you have to enjoy being at the rink together. So Toronto was a little bit like, it was a moment where I was on a small deal, and Toronto always signs a bunch of guys to small deals, and basically you got to make the team, right? Or they can just put you in the Marlies. And
yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. So it was basically a tryout. So it was great to make the team and then be a part of that team, because that group is a quality group of guys. Great.
Was Phil there?
Phil was not there.
Okay.
No, Phil was not there. But I loved Toronto. Loved it. Yeah.
But yeah, we're out here in Edmonton. We're here. I don't know when we'll air this. I don't know. We might never air this. These two guys are nuts. But it's the Oils. We're down 2-0. Does McDavid have it in him? Have you seen those qualities of this team, Draisaitl, that they can turn this around and still win the cup?
100%. It's Connor and Leon, And
it's up to them tonight. This is game 3 morning.
Back in Edmonton.
And Heimsy on the doorstep.
Exactly.
He's the backboard. He just sits there.
Just bank one in off him.
You could get 50 playing with him. Mark.
That being said, I haven't seen anything. I've been in Europe. I haven't seen anything, but it's Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And you're coming home to Edmonton, the best crowd in the world. So, yeah.
I think they're going to wheel tonight.
You think so?
If they don't, there's a lot of question marks.
What do you guys think?
I think they win tonight. My thing has been, and I've said this 15 times, but it's Malkin Crosby in 09. They came back down 0-2 after losing the year before, and they took over. And it's like, these are the two guys that you look at these two as, and can they go do the same thing? That's what we talk about, seeing these greats 10 minutes in, something's different. They're different, and it just comes down to can you do it on the biggest stage? Yeah. So I believe they can. I don't know if they'll win the series, but I think tonight they show up and just put on a performance for the ages.
Yeah.
Now, if they lose 6-0 and this interview comes out, it's an all-time clip. But I'm going to stand by my idea here.
You got to trust the gut.
Got the gear on.
Yeah, exactly. I played here, sort of. We were an AHL team, but I was playing on this franchise's roster. So.
Who would you say was the most instrumental part of your career?
My parents.
Parents?
Yeah.
Did your dad play?
No. He was, he was a ball hockey legend.
Really?
Yeah, ball hockey legend.
Can he still play, maybe?
Right.
For sure.
Did he play like national team? Did they even have
might
that?
be on the bench.
No, but I think he was like all-time legendary scorer.
Never skated, though.
No, he did. I don't think he had skates until he was like older.
Did he grow up in Edmonton?
Yeah, grew up on the west side.
So Edmonton's ball hockey, like
it's hardcore.
Culture is
it's hardcore.
Wow.
But yeah, ball hockey was so much fun. I love ball hockey,
and it probably had a lot to do with your skill, right?
For
Stick
sure.
handling,
For sure. And like conditioning and stuff.
Dude, you should see this guy's hands. Like we were
Insane.
buckled in Troy in my garage. It's like 2 a.m, and this guy's picking up the puck and doing all these tricks with it. Like,
The Rob Schrempy style.
yeah,
shit.
it was incredible. I'd never seen anything like this. It was incredible. His hands are ridiculous.
Well, what's cool
this
is
was
that
after 10 or 12 pink Whitneys.
I think you'd agree that was practice, but you never thought of it as practice. You were doing what you love, but you were building skill upon skill, and it never. For me, at least, it was never practice. I was just doing what I loved.
We were just playing for fun. Like,
yeah,
it was all my best buddies, my family. We all just played ball hockey in Edmonton, and it was crazy. Like, so you really develop good hands, and you develop really good conditioning. I remember I stopped playing ball hockey when I was like 17, so I was still in junior. And I was in the NHL, and a couple years in the NHL, I remember thinking, like, fuck, my conditioning isn't that great right now.
I'm not running around all summer.
It's because I'm not running ball hockey every, couple days. Like, it's.
Did you stop just because you didn't want to tear something, like injury?
Yeah, because the boys start, like, hacking you pretty hard in the shins. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just,
First rounder. Oh, yeah.
Not in ball hockey, you weren't.
Okay.
You take a chunk out of the shin, and you're like, nah, not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
But ball hockey's awesome. I never did the inline, the roller skating stuff, but I heard, that's supposed to be sick too.
Quick question about ball hockey. Do you guys take shifts in ball hockey?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's like a soccer match. You're running for a long time.
Yeah, it's like kind of like soccer. You're wearing soccer shin
No
pads.
gliding.
No, you're running.
Well, watching these guys in the
I
Big Deal
go the
Selects,
same.
they go hard. And then Merle's plays ball hockey because it's like, roller. Because it's like, roller, you're chilling. But like ball hockey, buddy, they're
grind.
giving her.
Easier on the joints.
They're giving her
Ball hockey
on.
ain't great on the joints. Huh?
I got injured in the ball hockey. I couldn't play the semifinals. Remember in Vegas?
You're buckled,
We
Paul.
play on like a little mini court too, and it's cement, and it's just
It's hard.
grind.
We want the sport court. We've been talking about the sport court. We'll see what happens. But I think that, like, when you're on concrete and there's bumps and fucking cracks, you're like, dude, there's somebody's going down here.
And especially like the clappers start going, the sticks start flying, and like they're zinging by.
Oh, yeah.
It can get a little dicey.
Yeah.
So you're an interesting guy. Who do you think the most interesting guy you played with was? Like, and like just made an impact on you where you're like, wow.
That's a great
You
question.
were so drawn. You were so drawn to him. I had to recover from my McDavid comparison.
You're like this. Yeah, like somebody where you're like, this
Am I
guy's a
okay now,
different
Mark?
cat.
Am I back to even?
Buddy, you've always been up here.
Tyson Barrie was a great teammate. He's super interesting.
best.
You've had him on here probably, right?
Yeah, always the best.
Great guy, great, smart, talk about anything. And Timmy was a great guy to know right off the bat. Because, like I said, when I was in junior, the junior team I had, we had the best leadership. It was like, I swear, looking back, it was like NHL leadership. The leaders told you what to do, you followed, you did it, and everyone did it.
And if you didn't do it, it wasn't flying.
Right. And when I got to the NHL, it was a little bit different, like kind of.
But a cup-winning team wouldn't be. I don't think that's the difference.
100%, 100%. So
I imagine some egos come into it.
But
like,
Timmy
I made it, so
my
I don't
point.
need to listen to this.
My
guy.
point is Timmy was he was good because he was old school. But if you look at Timmy's like, people said he wasn't tough. Timmy battled through so many injuries. I remember he bashed his face open, and he was sitting next to me on the bench after 5 minutes getting fixed. He's got a bubble on, took face-offs, killed penalties, ran the peeper, had beers after the game.
That's tough. Do it all.
Like old school. But then you look at what people thought of him, and
it's unfair.
That's not right. He was a grind. Like he grinded, and he led by example.
I don't know if you heard his interview with us, but I loved it because I know Conley from Merle's, and you just felt like he never really like wanted to talk about himself. But I felt like with us, he was able to kind of open up and mention that he was kind of bitter at the game, and then it's going away slowly, which I was happy to hear because he was that incredible of a player.
Timmy was nuts.
He was so good.
Timmy was a guy in the first training camp. I was like, whoa,
yeah,
that was crazy. Like,
well, we dropped a highlight clip of him that somebody else on YouTube put up, and I think a lot of younger kids, they're like, who is this?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
But then you get there.
Yeah,
I think it's his kid,
his kid
who's
got back
playing
in the hockey.
again.
Yeah, you're
which
right.
Brought him back, and he just said that's kind of his reintroduction to it. Where, like you said, he had a rough chip on his shoulder, just how quickly it ended, and I didn't even know or was aware that was kind of the book out on him. Maybe he was misrepresented and how tough he was.
Well, I just think people thought he was soft because he missed games because of injuries and stuff like that, and he was super skilled. And I think when you're super skilled
and missing games,
people
they're like,
think you're soft.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Timmy blocked shots he played the PK. He did everything. Took faceoffs when we needed faceoffs. Ran the power play. Mm-hmm. He kind of was like the everything guy, but he had so much skill and got injured sometimes that people think you're just soft and a skill guy.
Yeah, if you score too much or you're too fancy, then they think you can't play defense or you can't kill penalties, which is just so stupid and kind of old school.
And he was a good guy to learn from because he would be like trying to help me. And when I got to the NHL, coming from such a good culture in Medicine Hat, I remember thinking it's kind of weird, like it wasn't as tight. It wasn't as
where you think you're going to go up and it's going to be even more of what you saw.
It was a little like ball licky a bit, and I was like, why? It should be even more like leadership. Follow, everyone does the same thing. And Timmy was kind of the guy that was, in my opinion, leading the right way. But if you talk to people in Buffalo, they're not going to say that. But they don't really know, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was trying to keep like the Drury and Briere thing going, but then there was too many like younger guys coming in that weren't on that page. Like for a while there, when they
that he learned from when
he learned from Drury and Briere. He didn't really know, but then he all of a sudden saw Drury like, oh man, this guy's a leader. This is what I'm going to do. And he was trying to keep that going once Drury and Briere left, but it didn't.
And Timmy loves Drury, right? And Drury is exactly right. Like he was trying to be Drury a little bit,
which is awesome.
But I think like up top they didn't see it that way.
Let me ask you, look, lucky enough you've made good money and so you're not in a rush to do anything, but have you thought about post-career, what you'd love, being in the game at any point, or have you thought about what's next?
I mean, I love hockey, but I love other things too. I've been kind of just chilling. I was in...
Which is good, I think, when you're done, to take a year or two and just...
I've been in Europe hanging out, decompressing a bit, and I just talked to my agent a few days ago, kind of like talking like, you know, maybe we can get into some stuff. I'm all ears, but I'm not going to jump in anything that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, not to be that guy, I think the best advice I ever got when I was done playing was that whatever you do next doesn't have to be the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I was like, I remember being like, wow, like it's okay to just hop into something because it doesn't mean you're doing it for 10, 15 years, which I thought was kind of cool. But it's great to meet. Well, I've met you, but to talk with you, and same with you, buddy. It's unreal, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys.
We got to do this again. Well, I have so many more snowboards.
I know.
We're
2026, we're hoping for McMorris.
I think I should give her one more go.
I love it.
I'd be kicking myself if I didn't.
Prove McDavid wrong.
Oh, why? Oh,
because didn't he say you're done?
Yeah, no. McTitties.
You're like, oh, why? What'd he say?
That's what you call him via text? Big titties?
No, there's a new McTitties here.
Between Spittin Chiclets and me.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
No, but he's great, and I hope he wins tonight.
Mark McMorris, Tyler Ennis, thank you for your time. We'll let you guys get over to the Moss Pit. Let's go Oilers.
Thank you so much to both those guys. McMorris was telling me actually after Biz, I think he was headed down to Chile at some point to like, I don't know, not necessarily start the season, but that was his next spot. So it's just wild. You said before, just traveling the world doing that is crazy. And that injury story, I mean, you don't, I guess watching you see how dangerous it is, but they're so good at it that to hear what actually happened to him was wild. And
it's
in the news of
no L5S1 though, but I hear what you're saying.
Well, he had a naturopath or whatever you called it as well. He was looking to do a triathlon while in recovery of that injury. Actually, yeah.
Good
so
thing
he's
he
like
found a nature path.
But Ennis, I guess, spent some time in Edmonton. We talked about that. He's from Edmonton. And there was some news out of the Oilers land. Stoff, man, our man, the legend, Bob Stauffer, he came out and said he's hearing Evander Kane will need surgery, start the season on LTIR, which is kind of how it looked Edmonton figured it would be based on how they spent in their free agency and how good of a job that they did, kind of retooling. And at the same time, I don't know when this dropped, but video. First, I saw the video of the Oilers locker room after. It's dead silence, and the cameras are panning around. You could hear Gary Bettman on the ice actually announcing Connor McDavid as the Conn Smythe winner. I don't think this was played over audio. I think this is what they could hear from the locker room. And just the heartbreak. And I've been there. It wasn't Game 7, but I was in the room after losing a cup final. It's the saddest place you could ever imagine in sports. And they had video of it. And then a speech comes out by Zach Hyman. Kind of like you're just looking, I guess, for somebody to say something at some point. Maybe people don't say anything or somebody finally steps up. He's just talking about how special the team was, how he knows they'll be back. And as you're giving that speech, you don't know who. There was a lot of question marks, and not everyone will ever be back. Nowadays, no matter what, you don't bring back the same exact team. A fan will correct me if I'm wrong. In the last 10 years, has a cup-winning team ever brought back the exact same roster? So the speech was good, but you are wondering who will be gone. They had a lot of guys return, and he probably even realized it in the middle of the speech. Like, I don't know if this team ever will be back. But he's talking about the base of the group and the foundation of the entire team. So still waiting for Leon to sign. I think people would love to see that done in August. I don't know if it will happen. But I don't know what you thought of the video.
I think the fact that Auston Matthews is about to get the C and you decide to bring up your fucking Edmonton Oilers out of the fucking interview is a disgrace.
So you think a viral video of a team's heartbreak who's on the cusp of winning isn't as important as a team who can't get out of the first round and when they do get worked in 5 games? So yeah, I'm talking about the best player in the world and a video coming out of his lowest moment as a professional athlete or in his life as an athlete, and you think it's more important to chat about a new captain of a team who can't accomplish anything when it matters?
If the GLOAT had a supporting cast like that, he'd have 3 cups already, dude. He'd have 3 Stanley Cups.
She'd be my uncle.
Buddy, 368 goals in 562 games. The GLOAT is getting the C, and you want to come out of the gate with a bunch of losers in the locker room, and you're Evander Kane drama? You're a bum, dude.
There's a lot of big news. A lot of big news coming out of Oilers Nation, and that matters a lot more to me. But I will agree with you. Big news in Toronto. Okay, we can transfer over to that. Big news in Toronto. I love it. I love this move. I think it's probably very difficult, and apparently Tavares was way on board and understands completely it's time to give the C to Auston Matthews, but it's still got to be hard. You remember Joe Thornton did it.
No, it's not.
You don't think that's hard? Oh, I'd love to interview Joe Thornton. I bet you if you got the honest truth, it would be a little difficult to know that it's not your team anymore.
He's been working with Brad Treliving to hand it off. They've been working hand in hand to hand it off to Auston. So, like, what do you mean?
I'm thinking that they said, now maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it comes out it was Tavares' idea that he went to Treliving and he went to the entire front office, right? And he said it's time for me to give up the C. If that's the case, I'm completely wrong. I would guess that it would be Treliving.
You think they went to him?
And I would guess it'd be Berube that has a talk and at least mentions it first. And hey, what we were thinking here is it's Austin's time. I don't know if we'll ever know. I respect the hell out of him either way. If he did it on his own, that takes a lot of balls. That takes a lot of guts and putting your ego aside to give up the C, right? But I would imagine it was more like, hey, what do you think about this? That's just my opinion. I don't know. You seem to be convinced that it was him that went to everyone else and said, I don't want this anymore. This is for Austin now.
Well, I guess that when I read that him and Treliving were working together, I guess maybe like they just kind of got together and had the talk.
Somebody has to say it first, Bez.
You think it was Treliving who was like, "Hey, listen, Bob."
I would guess that would be what I would guess. I'm making it clear. I have no clue. I'm a talking head. I'm a Muppet. But somebody has to say it first, Biz. You don't go and meet for coffee and then all of a sudden 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna give up the C. You got to give up the C.
Maybe it was Berube and he asked Mitchie Marner. Maybe that's why they met at that Starbucks in Canada. Remember that photo that leaked out?
Yep, it was big news. We should have led the show off with that actually that week.
That'd be a hard conversation for Tree Living to pick up the phone and say, "Hey,
I know, dude.
Hey, but you know that captaincy, yeah, we're gonna have to take it back unless you sign this 3-year extension for $1 million per. Let's keep the AAV down here, pal. Let's all be team players." No. Do you think that was something that came across the table?
No,
Okay.
I do not. I do not.
Back to the
you're
Evander-
you just went from it was Tavares' idea to he was bribed into doing it.
Tinfoil hat, Leaf
that's
land.
back surgery to triathlon in Toronto Maple Leafs land.
That's Toronto Maple Leaf Reddit, just inscribed in my brain. I want to quit. I don't know how it all went down, but it's the right move given the fact that Tavares has 1 year left and we got the gloat. I got laughed off stage when I called Auston Matthews the gloat. Can we agree he's the greatest Leaf of all time? Even at this point?
So you think if he somehow stupidly got traded tomorrow, forever?
No, but he's not. He just signed a 5-year extension, didn't he?
I
Or was it 4?
understand that, but you just said today, right now, can we agree that he's the greatest of all time? And I'm wondering, like, in 5 years now, I'd probably be willing to say that. But considering, Gilmore and Wendell Clark and Gilmore making a little bit of a run, if he stayed in the second round at most for the rest of his Leafs career, you still say greatest Leaf of all time? Probably, considering his goal scoring. Yes, I probably agree. But if they never have any playoff success, it would definitely be a little different.
Agreed.
Okay.
But he's well on his way to being the gloat, and we can agree on that.
Yes.
Evander Kane stuff, going back to it, is it rumor mill that he's healthy and they're trying to get him to do surgery? Like, is there drama there? Are they trying to force?
I've received a couple different messages, but you just don't know if people are messing with you. You don't know if people are messing with you, right? So it would be straight up rumor, boys, to say that I heard that there could be a different side to it. Who knows?
And you're not
Rumor Boy City. I trust Stoff. That's the thing. Stoff's dialed.
Okay, and he didn't report that it was maybe them trying to force him on IR or something.
No, he did not.
Okay, that's rumor boy, rumor mill. That's really all I got as far as the gloat getting to see. He deserves it. That video was pretty sad seeing that with all the effort you put into a season to come to see it end like that. And then being able to hear them presenting the cup on the ice. But it goes back to Gretzky walking by the Islanders locker room, man. You need that moment to say, listen, man, however far and hard we thought we pushed, it's just not enough. There's another level. Florida had to deal with it the year before. Have we talked about when the last time back-to-back Stanley Cup winners had gone to the finals and lost and then had to go through that? Because I know that it happened with you guys where you guys did it in Pitt, or they did it, excuse me. I wasn't even trying to chirp you there.
I know, and then I realized it was going to turn into one as you said you guys, and I was like, fuck. I think that feeling and seeing the room and that video, that will be on their mind when they get back there. I'm not even going to say if. When they get back to the finals, that feeling of like despair, just being heartbroken, like they now have that in their mind the next time they're in the cup final. So you're also sitting there thinking, like, if we just won one of the first three, who knows, right? Like, you can't. It's weird to look back on it that way, considering you just ripped off 3 in a row, but they weren't ready to go at the beginning of the series. They actually played well in one of the first game they played great, but it was a good video. I apologize for not starting it off with Leafs new captain news. Actually, we have another interview that we could throw to, considering he was an all-time great Leaf. And we interviewed back in Toronto at the Gretzky House during the All-Star game. We did a bunch of interviews, and we had kept ripping them off throughout the season. And Gary Roberts had been on prior. This was evergreen, so we saved it for the summer. We're talking Leafs. We talked to Gary Roberts, who trains some of the best players in the league and goes in depth into why he does what he does. And it's just a great time seeing him again. He always he actually brought me a big bag of what was it?
Granola. Instead of eating your Cheerios.
Granola. And I said, Gary, can I put this in yogurt that I buy for my kids that have M&Ms attached to them, which seems like a super healthy breakfast? He's like, I probably wouldn't go with that route with this granola. So.
And I think it was a pretty good evergreen interview because we talked to him in a prior interview about his career. But if you look at the way the game's going with the fitness and the health component, like he is one of the forefront guys who brought this to hockey. He went through the experience himself when he got injured, where they said it was going to be career ending, and he put every ounce of his energy into becoming a better athlete. And he's probably like a master dietitian, and he spreads all this knowledge to all this young next generation of hockey player, Connor McDavid being one of them. So to get to pick his brain and see where these high-end guys are at and what their training regimen is and how much they pour into it, much like he did, it's fascinating. So I think it was a good conversation and one for a lot of you young hockey players to understand what that threshold is and what it's going to take. So we couldn't thank him enough for his time, and we hope you guys enjoy this interview. Gary Roberts.
Well, it's been a few years since we've had this legendary NHLer on the pod. He played 1,354 regular season and playoff games for 6 franchises and, of course, won the Stanley Cup with the 1989 Flames. He also won the Masterton Trophy in 1996. It's great to welcome back to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Gary Roberts. How you been, man?
I've been good, guys. How are you guys been doing?
The machine.
It's a little, it's a little tight around here, right, guys? I said, don't you guys know you're still
the size of our room here?
I thought you guys were big time. It's been 4 years since I've been on the show.
To our roots, I was always one of those.
There's no doubt.
Guys.
Gretzky's basement, not much to talk about, hey?
I've walked in the door and I've met, I've seen 100 people in about 700 square feet. So you guys are,
put
you guys
your
are
mask
living
on,
tight.
buddy.
I like it.
Get your mask on, get your hand sanitizer out, buddy.
Ontario, we'll probably shut down after the day.
How did it get back going again? Well, one of the funny things is when you were coming in, you said you played with Wayne in an All-Star game and you were fucking nervous as hell.
I was. It was my second All-Star game. Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hall were my line mates. And it was good because Holly and I actually were roommates in Moncton, New Brunswick, our first year pro hockey. And then but we ended up playing an All-Star game. I think it was in Philly or Montreal. I played in 2 back-to-back. I'm not sure which it was, but I was so afraid. I said, oh my God, I got to get Wayne Gretzky the puck. Meanwhile, Calgary, Edmonton, right? We weren't exactly friends. So I was scared to play with him that day. Of course, Brett Hall makes anybody loose. So it would turn out to be great. But he did sign a stick for me after. I still have his 2-piece Easton stick downstairs at my place with his wooden blade on it saying,
like
hey,
the
Gary.
silver one?
Silver one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you didn't feel bad asking? Would you ask all the guys, or was it just because it was Wayne?
I think it was. I thought it would probably be my only opportunity to ask Wayne Gretzky for an autograph.
Because after that, you'd be punching him in the face.
He probably left out of the game and said, "Fucking Roberts stinks."
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't have to play that.
Guy's hands are horrible.
Hey, you probably
don't have to carry that kid again.
Hey, you didn't drink the night before because you were just
probably not. Probably didn't have any Sudafed or anything for the All-Star game. Probably just.
How were you though with him?
I was okay. I would just say it was okay.
Survive.
I would say exactly how I felt. I was nervous to play with him.
Well, Robs, when you were coming in here, I was like wicked excited because I don't see you often. Mm-hmm. I run into you here and there in Pittsburgh at the rink or whatever with your kids' hockey, or I love it. But like I have such great, awesome memories that like we got to play with you. It was
when
awesome.
He came over. It was like, oh my God,
we got him.
He changed the whole organization.
What did you think of when you got there playing? Well, you were probably thinking, oh man, I got to play with Sid. And then you saw the other guys.
The same fear I had playing with Wayne. Yeah. Sid was so grumpy if you never got him the puck at that time, right? Yeah. I would say, came into Pittsburgh. I remember being in Florida. Jacques Martin wanted to trade me. Long story went on. I thought I was going to go to Ottawa. It never ended up happening. Recchi and Mary Lemieux called me and said, hey, we're really interested in having you come to Pittsburgh. And then obviously when Recchi and Mario called me that night in Florida, it was an easy decision to come to Pittsburgh. I was only in Pittsburgh for 3 years. And I feel like I was there for 15. Like it is a point in my career. Obviously being a Calgary Flame, being a Toronto Maple Leaf meant a lot in my career. Being a Pittsburgh Penguin is like right up there. And I was only there for a few years. Like I loved you guys. You guys were awesome. Our youth.
We had a great
the youth
group
that we had, the group of kids that we had. Other than me fighting with Michael Therrien almost every second day because of the way he treated everybody. Like we had a great group of kids. I remember saying to Ray at one point, Ray, this is the greatest group of kids I've been around since we won the Stanley Cup in Calgary in 1989.
When you were one of the kids.
Yeah, when I was one of the kids, because they were so close, and you guys had so much fun. And it was like, and Rex was there, and Rex and I could say I had some of my fondest memories as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
So Tarian often comes up on our podcast. So you were battling with him because like you're an old school guy, so you probably had hard coaches. But you just felt it was his approach of how rude he was to the guys. Like,
well, I just felt like he was hard, but he was just not nice with the younger players. Like and in my eyes, the threats exceeded what he was trying to do. You know what I mean? For a younger player that was trying to make it, his hockey sense. Like I thought his as a coach, I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
to be totally honest. Like I loved his system. I didn't want to be stuck on the wall as a winger. I always say to everybody, as a winger, the worst place to get the puck is standing still at the hash marks.
You got nothing.
And he used to always like push the wingers up on the D. And I used to love it because all you had to do was win that battle.
Yeah.
Either get the puck to the centerman or get it in the neutral zone. And it was an easy battle.
And you were going too. If you got it by him, you're already going.
Yeah, you're already going. Maybe not me, but you were already going. You're chipping it by. Being low in the zone. So I liked his system. I really did. I just didn't, I'm not going to blast him. I just didn't think he treated younger players that well. And I thought the threats exceeded what he was trying to do by motivating them to be better players.
We were saying last night, like if there's like a younger team in the league, like that right now is struggling, I actually think he could come in there and like switch things up.
Yeah, because he does a lot of great things.
He does know the game.
And him and I battled because I was getting older. Obviously you're at that point in your career where you came in, you were playing with Sid, and now you got to play with Army. Sid, Army, and then
no,
I'm just kidding. Me and Sid and Army were aligned.
Yeah,
a few games.
We had a couple.
No shit.
Yeah, we were aligned for a bit.
Army's having McDonald's for pregame meal. And Rob's having a heart attack.
We were joking beforehand. Gary's obviously a health nut. You try to drag him to McDonald's a few times. He refused to go.
Oh yeah, like I sat beside Rob's on the plane too. I don't know if you remember that, Rob's. But he brought his own, I'll get to the McDonald's. He brought his own duffel bag. I'm not talking like a little carry-on. It was like a fucking like commandos going to war duffel bag. And he had like, he'd open it up. Yeah, I ain't eating that shit, that plain food, that shit. I'm not eating that shit. He had his own food pre-packed in Tupperwares. He'd crack it out. He'd start eating while I'm eating the plain food. But then like after games, he's like, here, take this. He'd pass me all these capsules. He's like, magnesium after the game. Helps you sleep. Good for your muscles. But, so he has me there. I'm eating like, we had beers on the plane and everything too. Yeah. I'm like smashing magnesium. But whatever he gave me, I'm just taking them. Like just a crazy health guy, which was great for all of us too, I think, early in our career. And after the bar one time, we were in New York City. I remember he came out, I saw the Golden Arches. I was like, oh, man, there they are.
That's your dream coming out of the bar.
Yeah. And I was just like, Rob's, let's go. And Rob's is like, I've never had McDonald's in my life. I'm like,
not in my life. Let's not get carried away, but
maybe. Oh, he's
I used to be a McDonald's guy. I will not lie. I will not lie.
He's like, I've never had McDonald's in 15 or 20 years or something, you said. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? He's like, nope. And I'm like, Rob's, we're doing it. We're going to McDonald's. Let's go. And I'm like, Rob's is like, well, how old were you then? Like 40?
He just slaps you.
41. And I was like 25, 24. And I was trying to pull him down the street to go to McDonald's. He wouldn't do it. Even after a couple cocktails, Rob's.
No,
I wouldn't
discipline.
Do it.
Well, we said, Biz, you weren't even in the room. I said, yeah, you're no fast food guy. He goes, no, I'll get Chipotle. I'm like, I didn't even think of that as fast food. I get that 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Chipotle's fast food.
Well, and then Gary brought in you some trail mix.
Brought me my trail mix. Rob's was all over me. We've told the story, eating the Fruit Loops, and I got a look.
That was so funny.
His look could have killed someone. You're eating fucking Fruit Loops. I was like, yeah, I love these things. He was disgusted with it. So now I got my trail mix from you.
A nice trail mix for Impact. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
Well, I was going to eat pizza because we had some pizza here, but then I knew he was coming, so I went and got an acai bowl.
I'm like Bugsy. I don't eat. Just when I have a couple beers, you just don't eat.
Oh, Bugsy.
So
one of the best teammates ever.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I was excited to get you in again, like what's like the game's evolving so much and you're at the forefront of like training these players. Mm-hmm. What are the new things that players are doing to like evolve their game to last 82 to be able to move on the ice the way that I don't think players have moved before?
Yeah, like the science of the game's obviously evolved tremendously. Like I'm fortunate to have a whole team, right? In Gary Roberts' Performance, I have a whole team of trainers all winter we, educate ourselves, try to be better. That's our vision, right? Our players make us be better. And to see what the players do in the summers today, the challenge, the science side of it is the challenges of a program is trying to get the players to do less.
I was going to say that you have to slow them down a little.
The on-ice component of the game is bigger than it's ever been. Players want to skate all summer.
Yeah.
And you guys know, like even when you guys were coming in as younger guys, you didn't skate all summer.
No, you didn't start skating until August.
We skated gear on in August, start skating a few days a week, and then ramp it up, have a few game-like practices and end of August, and you go to training camp.
Yeah.
Now, I have a tough time keeping guys off the ice. July 11th, last year, I did ice in. Guys want to be on there 2-3 times a week.
And you're against that still?
I'm against it.
Okay.
I understand it. I understand the skill of the game. Players want to touch the puck more. Dumping and chasing like us. Well, kind of us three guys did. You didn't have to. You had some skill. But, like the skill, you just don't pick a stick up and handle the puck like the guys do in the NHL now. Like you do need to touch the puck more. And I do believe as you get stronger in the summer, working on your strength, working on your conditioning.
The adjustments. You don't want to have a huge adjustments by not skating for 8 weeks. So I get it. But managing how much volume they do away from the rink is really, really, really important. So managing that in the game, players work, I hate saying we didn't work hard.
I know. If I didn't work hard,
I would never have played in the NHL. So I don't want to compare it. But the kind of work and the energy expenditure that the players do on a daily basis in the summer is incredible.
Biz talks a lot about we were the same, and you grew up and you're doing Olympic style like overhead
Lifting.
snatch, clean, and looking back, do you say what we say now? Like prior, that was crushing our body, right?
Yeah, like if the loads were lighter and it was for speed, we still do that stuff.
Yeah.
If it's really heavier and you're an inexperienced lifter,
it's bad for your body.
Bad for you. It's
trying to
hard on your
clean
joints.
260.
Yeah, like trying to, like I said, we saw a lot of college guys, right, coming out, going, clean to 185 was nothing. Trying to clean 2 1/4, hang clean, like hard on your joints over time. There's no doubt, guys, you need to be strong to play the game. There's no doubt. But at some point, the fitness becomes greater than the
Correct.
strength.
Yeah.
Like guys don't want huge upper bodies.
No,
anymore.
I noticed
like
that with the players.
if you're squatting 2 plates and you can be in control of it, you probably got strong enough legs.
Yeah, probably 3 plates.
Okay.
But yeah, probably like when a player gets to 3 plates or high 3s or
Good
4s,
enough.
it's good enough. Like Stammer got to like 450 at one point early in his 20s, and he didn't have great mobility in his hips. He didn't love his squat, but he was so powerful and so fast. And then we just unloaded him, and now did it a certain level of that percentage in speed, and that's how he keeps his speed without risking lifting too heavy and it becoming a problem. So you still need to, obviously, you still need to pick shit up and put it down. At some point in your development, you need to be strong enough to play. But then you need, that's what
I've noticed
is, it's individualizing
Yeah.
what all you guys need. And this is what my coaches are amazing at.
Well, like I feel like that too, like, and your coaches and your staff morphing and going with, I'm sure, do you guys have football players too and other sports or just hockey?
We have some executives, but most of our guys, we're hockey.
They got some executives
training program.
on the executive package.
You mentioned Stammer. That's a guy you've had your hands on pretty much the entire time he's been in the NHL, right?
18 years old. We were teammates in Tampa my last year.
How is he still fucking doing it?
And
he's battled injuries.
When you think about the battle, and his injuries haven't been tissue related; they've been impact related. And then he has blood clot. He had his broken leg. He had his bang on the boards, his meniscus. So he's had some serious injuries. But his lifestyle, I mean, it all goes back to how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you can't have fun. I had fun, to a degree. As I got older, I couldn't have as much fun because I just couldn't recover.
Yeah,
you were a machine, bud.
He's staring at us three talking about life.
No, buddy, that's one of my biggest regrets.
Not at all. I know that I lost my career at 30 years old. I was done. I was lonely. I was in Alberta. I was drinking my face off. And I was 30 years old. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Right? A little bit of money, but definitely not enough to retire. I had one big contract at that point at 30. And I just swore to myself I'd never let that stage in my life happen again. So I had a reason, and I think everybody at some point in their life, they hit some kind of wall or something happens to them that either the light goes on or it doesn't. Unfortunately for me, I looked in the mirror one day and said, fuck, I don't like myself very much. And then at 30 years old, I changed. So
that was after the neck.
After my neck injury. Yep. And then I tried to come back and play. I took a hit against Chicago one night, lost all the feeling in both my arms. I went back to the bench and Dave King says, Robs, you can go. And I said, I can't go, Kinger. I can't feel my arms. So that day I retired, and that was April of 96. And then I took 18 months away from the game, and I took 4 months of drinking and went and watched the Flames play one night. And I remember being in the stands and I had to leave.
Depressed.
Right? I was so depressed. And then a good buddy of mine, Lauren Goldenberg, still a really good friend. I still talk to Lauren.
Yeah,
him and I talk every
guy.
day.
Have you had any people like you come about in your time now training, like any players who maybe kind of lost their way a little bit, not even necessarily due to injury, but like kind of like came to you where like, yeah, they kind of came to that point like you did where it's a complete mindset shift?
Yeah, you have to. I have had players, and I won't name players, but players that have had either mental health issues or retired for a few years and didn't like what they were doing and have come back to play. That's happened. I don't know if I've had a guy that went through like the health side of it like I did. But for me, I learned so much about myself through that journey, through that challenge. And what I'm passionate about today, man, I live it every day. I share it every day. I talk to young players every day about enjoy every day, right? Our good friend, Brad McCrimmon, he is a sweetheart of a guy. He used to take me to the farm in Regina, in Plenty, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And he used to run my ass up and down these gravel roads. And we'd have 10, 12 beers at night. and then he'd say, Roy, get it in before it gets too hot out there. He'd have my ass up at 6, and I'd be chasing his little silky shorts down the road. And he'd have his heart rate monitor on, and he would bury me every day.
So he was ahead of it. He was doing that stuff early.
Brad McCrimmon was one of the hardest working guys I've ever, and such a wonderful man. We miss him every day.
Yeah.
So I used to talk to Brad once a week, and he loved the game of hockey. But he taught young players how to work, and he taught me how to work. My dad taught me how to work. I had mentors in my life that I didn't make it because I was a skilled hockey player. I made it because I felt like I was a bit of a survivor. Like I wasn't going to be denied. It was my mentality. And if I had to fight, I would fight. Whatever I had to do. And then
you're fucking tough, bud.
Yeah, I was just fortunate. But I would say I'm grateful. I'm fortunate that I figured it out at 30, that if I just take better care of myself, I may be able to go back and play.
What's amazing is talking about what you went through, and it's emotional even hearing it, right? Where it was over, but it all led to where you are now. It's like everything happens for a reason. Where now you have this we talk about post-career blues, and you have this. It's like without that happening, you probably wouldn't have this performance center and all these coaches underneath you. It's just incredible to see how it worked out.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I wouldn't have any of this.
Yeah,
I don't know where I would be, to be honest.
How many guys are under your staff now?
So we have, I've literally had the same staff from Adrian, my head strength and conditioning coach, and Sylvie and Adrian are now married and having babies, and she's our head holistic nutritionist. So they've been amazing. They've been with me for over a decade. And then Lucas is our speed coach, Lucas Lobo. I'd put his stuff up with anybody in the world.
Really?
It's amazing speed work for our guys. Our whole therapist team, chiropractors.
So they're in the gym. So it's all one-stop shop.
Guys walk in, they get fed, they get treatment, they train, they get more treatment, they eat again.
They're like Ferraris now.
They take their food to go, and if they're going to go golfing, if they golf too much, I give them shit. And I'm like,
what's too much? What's too much?
Well, if you're like
Stammer plays golf
3 days a week, 2 days a week.
That's too much?
Well,
what do you think it's doing to the body? Just the back?
Dehydrating.
Yeah.
Oh, fries your nervous system.
Really?
Like golf is a lot harder on your body.
I know it is.
Than you think it is.
It's hard on my
Try
mind.
taking 102 strokes.
So when you train,
he said it's hard on his mind.
So think about that. You do a turf session in the morning, and it's hard. Then you go do an on ice session, and then you maybe eat, get a little treatment, and then you go to the golf course. If you're not fueling on the golf course, drinking a bunch of water, eating your extra meals, taking some snacks, you don't recover for next day's training. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but if you're golfing every day, eventually that affects your gains
and recovery
throughout the summer. I don't want to see guys on the beds injured in August. I would say we don't train in June and July to be injured in August. So we're much smarter about our approach to training. We send players to camp ready. Mm-hmm. And if a guy gets hurt, my biggest, I get upset about it. I'm in the gym all summer. Guys get hurt in August. I'm like, fuck. Why'd he get hurt? Why'd he get hurt? And I hate seeing players get hurt because you guys know the challenges of being an injured hockey player. It's really
if you're starting season injured,
it's hard on
your whole year's fucked. It's
hard on your head.
It's harder mentally than anything.
So bad for players that work so hard and then maybe have a pull a calf or pull a hamstring. Or that's why we're really sensitive about what we do with players as we're getting on the ice more. You almost got to take away. We do some footwork and we do maybe some speed sleds. We almost take away the running. It's tough to be skating every day and doing the running at the same time.
So it's, the sacrifice sounds like so much compared to maybe what it was. And, like if you're McDavid, you're just on the clock.
Or if I say this, if you're trying to catch McDavid, like if you're trying to compete against him every day and it's June and we do shuttles and it's over. 8 guys, 8 pros in a group. It's over his group. And they're all walking in. I'm walking in. I look back and I'm like, what are you doing? Because I feel good. I'm going to do another one. What do you think the other 7 guys do? They turn around and go back and do it. And I'm not just saying Connor, because a lot of them work hard. Like I saw an interview with Chris Tanev, and I'd like to say this, like one of the biggest warriors I've ever played, or not played with, trained for sure. The guy is a machine. He did an after hours interview the other night. He's as humble and as nice a hockey player as you could ever have on your team. He puts his face in front of slap shots. He's had so many injuries through impact. He was that big at 18 years old, right?
Really?
Chris Tanev's made himself a beast. He's one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. And,
he's a beauty too.
And he's a warrior on the ice. He's an amazing teammate. So those are the kind of guys that I've been fortunate to be involved with for a long time. The Tanev brothers and, Connor and Stammer and some of the guys have been around a long time. And it's just, the joy for me is watching them succeed. I love watching the game and watching the players that I've worked with succeed. And obviously in the winter, I work for Seattle. And I've really enjoyed that too. It's been amazing. And I have the opportunity to have a little impact on our strength and conditioning staff there, who do an amazing job. So I'm in the game enough, but I can't be in it as much as I'd like to be, which is
playing.
Does Connor call you a lot for like advice and like things you're going on?
No, part of my deal, and the players know this, during the winter, I don't really communicate with my players. Just because my onus from September till April is the Seattle Kraken in respect to that's who I work with, Seattle Krakens, right. With some of their top prospects, and then basically have conversations with the strength and conditioning staff in both Coachella Valley and Seattle throughout this season.
Well, I'm just getting, what are the Leafs doing? Why aren't you with the Leafs? What the fuck are they doing?
I don't know. Play defense.
He's right here. He ex-Leaf legend. I don't get it. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Are you boys with Ronnie Francis?
Well, Ronnie and I were teammates in Carolina.
Oh yeah.
So we were teammates, and he does an amazing. Obviously, he does an amazing job, and we were good friends. We were line mates when we played together. So I've enjoyed that relationship, of course, and he's got other few Carolina players that are employees there also. That I get. Robert Cron was the next Carolina Hurricane that works for Ronnie as well. So I enjoy seeing him often.
As a competitive guy, like I know playing with you, when Seattle got off to that slow start, you must have been fuming, huh?
Yeah, I was just,
what's going on?
But I would say
magnesium. Get the boys some magnesium.
We have all that stuff.
That makes you sleep, right? Magnesium.
I don't want them to sleep. But I would say, listen, whether you think we overachieved last year or not, the team plays the right way.
Yeah, they play hard.
They play hard, and they work their asses off. And from their first line to their fourth line, the pace doesn't fall off. I know they're well conditioned. I know our staff does a really good job individualizing programming for players. So I know they do all the right things. I just think, like anything, you win a Stanley Cup, and next year all the teams are a little more ready for you.
Yeah.
The Seattle Kraken had a hell of a year, and all of a sudden it wasn't the Seattle Kraken anymore. It was actually a really good.
We'll be ready to go tonight.
I think these guys played well last year. These guys were successful. So I just think teams are more ready. And maybe we didn't get off to a very good start with, we always struggle to score. And I'd say not really struggle, but we don't have a lot of goals for. Our goals against is one of the best in the league. But I say that early in the season, we had a tough time scoring. And that got better. And then,
I want to ask you about just working with the Kraken in general, in the league. Like teams don't pregame, like everything's completely changed. Teams don't practice as much. Teams don't pregame skate at all ever now. Well, most of them, and it's like hit or miss, a lot of optionals. How much say do you have from your team with the coaches in planning out schedules, looking at games and whatever? And also, can you believe the players are this soft nowadays? They can't pregame skate.
Yeah, well, I would say that I'd rather lift weights in the morning of a game than pregame skate. I like to go in and do a little lift.
See, Gino in Pittsburgh, he still takes pregame skate because he'd rather go on the ice. That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's different. Some guys want to feel the puck. I mean, when I was young, obviously pregame skates were good because you probably had a couple beers the night before and you needed to sweat it out.
Bingo.
Right? But as you get older and smarter, you don't do that stuff. And I like to do a little stretch and a lift in the morning of a game.
What's changed for looking back, at least for me, is growing up, college, early on pro, every guy got the same workout. And you already talked about individualizing workouts. When you were playing, were you already thinking like, why is everyone doing the same workout? Were you already ahead of that? Because looking back, it's like, why would I be doing what Orpik was doing? Like he already had the muscle. It should have changed earlier, right?
Yeah, and it's also time, and it's also recognize you have one strength coach taking care of 24 players.
Yeah, that's true.
And individualizing programming takes time. I would say no doubt that players should have some type of practice game routine that they do that's individualized. Guys like playing sewer ball and guys got into all that. Like I was a pretty big warm-up guy, right? Like by the time warm-up was over, I was...
No, you did my summer workouts in warm-up.
I was trying to...
He did.
I had to change.
You'd come in 2 seconds before the game.
I was like, how is he... when he was doing his warm-ups because he'd be sweating his ass.
What are we talking here?
Buddy, this guy was working his... He was
weights?
Full.
Well, some jumps, plyo.
Yeah, the ball. He's doing these ball things. He's shaking. He's battling. I'd come in. I'd say, "Can I touch your abs?" And he had like just a little bit of skin over his abs, and I'd rub it just to feel it.
Good luck.
No, I wanted to let the skin moving around on his abs. I was like, "This guy," and then he's just leaking, and he comes in and gets dressed. I'm like, "Oh my god!" We don't look at each other.
That's old school.
Well, I felt like I had to. I always felt like my first couple of shifts in the game, I needed to feel the game. I needed to hit some bodies. And if I didn't have a hit in like my first shift, I could get away. Maybe, okay, fuck, I didn't touch his soul that shift. And I'm already falling asleep here. I got to run into somebody. Next shift.
Just wired like that.
Yeah, it was the next shift. I bump a few guys. I'm like, okay, I'm in it, right? You guys know, like sometimes
I feel like if a coach sees that too, he's like, oh, fuck, he came to play. He's throwing the body this early. Like it's a mental note to the coach. Like I'm ready for my early
like I just felt like for me, that was my job. I felt like being a first forechecker for me and on the puck and creating turnovers was an asset. That was my skill.
Yeah.
That was my skill. So I had to do it. And if I didn't do it, if I found myself in the high slot, like looking for a one-timer, I would be out there going like, what am I doing out here?
Give me the puck.
I couldn't be more out of place out there. I needed to be behind the goal line.
Yeah, or like around the puck, find the puck, on the puck. Yeah.
So how much work do you guys do, or do you and your team do about not just the strength and the conditioning, but actually like the game, the hockey IQ part, or is it more just all body work?
It's body work. A lot of guys have coaches for that.
Yeah.
I will sit with players, and some guys bring video in, and I look at video. A lot of players that I invite to my program, I watch video of them before. I'll get somebody call me, say, hey, I've got this player. He's a really good player. Plays here. He's done this. All that.
Is that
stuff.
so you can see his deficiencies?
Yeah, deficiencies, but also see if
he cares.
If he's coming for the right reason. If he's actually like the big thing is I only have so many spots, and I don't mean to say I don't want to waste time. But if you're going to come to my program and be pushed there because someone else is pushing you there, it's probably not going to work. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you're all in. If you come in, you're all in. You listen to us. And yes, guys do some stuff on the side because they have to because of their team stuff. But for the most part, we like to manage everything once you come to us because we know how much work you need to do. And if you do too much, then we have the risk of you doing too much and August comes along and you're either burnout or you're injured. And now we got a problem. because now we're not ready for camp. And you guys know, although it shouldn't be as big a deal as it is, fitness testing still is
it's a mind.
It's going away a little though.
I don't say
when we first got to Pittsburgh,
it was the best.
It was the best.
Oh yeah.
Go do what was the guy's name? He had 2 different size shoes.
John Welday.
Yeah.
John Welday, and he'd go, Robs, you weren't there. He'd go, hey, go do as many sit-ups as you can. Tell me how you did. I was like,
and when you get to
195.
No, when you get to 100, stop. Yeah. And then everyone would just say 100, hand in the sheet, and they do like 20 sit-ups. It was like that for basically
when
every
I went to
activity.
camp, I left camp when they cut me when I was young. I was like 19 or whatever, or 18. And he came up to me after. They're like, "Hey, you didn't do your VO2 or your sprint test or the squat test or this test." So I'm like, oh, I thought it was. I didn't seem like it was like. I was like, I didn't know. He's like, just make sure you get it done next year. Don't worry. I was like, okay.
That's amazing. That wasn't that long ago. Like, you're not that old.
That's 2001, 2002,
well, yeah,
2003.
But I was
you were ahead of all of this, clearly. And I think for where our organization was with Fruit Loops in the room and all that stuff, like we got an eye opener at a good age with like good veteran guys like you around.
Yeah,
to do that.
Well, we had. I mean, I say like, and I still marvel at watching Sid.
Oh yeah,
Gino Letang. Letang he didn't know how good he was. Like he was really good.
He was always a beast though, too.
When he came to Pittsburgh, and we used to make fun of him because he didn't seem like the brightest guy in the world. But holy shit, was he smart on the ice. And did he make plays? And the way that he played the game, he just didn't care. He tried everything. Yeah. He was just had that mentality. Like to see those guys still playing at Pittsburgh and we were their teammates. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It's
like
crazy.
I'm a record. I think I'm 15 years retired. And those 3 players are my ex-teammates that are still there. Good for them.
Yeah,
I mean, I just have so much respect for those guys. And of course, Fleury was there the longest time too. To play in one organization your whole career is amazing. Like, yeah, I would say I played on 6. I played in Calgary for 10, but because of my injury, I started moving around a little bit. So I learned from all those. I would never change it. I learned. But for those players to see how good they are, to still be doing what they're doing in their late 30s.
Wild.
And, I'll be 58 in May. They were my teammates, right?
It's nuts.
Like,
I got to ask
any good Sid stories? I just like hearing.
Well, he was just, no.
He trained with you. Did he?
He came up a couple times.
Came up and hung out
and I actually gave Siv some like a healthy cereal bowl at night, living with me, and came into Oxbridge and visited a couple days. And he woke up the next morning. I said, "Hey, bud, how'd you sleep?" And he's like, "God, I had diarrhea." I said, "What?" He said, "I don't know what you gave me last night, but it went right through me." So here he comes to spend the night at my place, and I gave him too much fiber. I gave him too much fiber. So he never came back after. He never came back after that trip.
Can't handle the Rob's diet.
But I thoroughly I so much enjoyed playing with Sid. He made me like I would literally go to the rink going, "Holy."
Yeah, you got to be ready.
Legs, be going tonight because if you're not going, he's a zone ahead of you.
Even in practice, so wrong.
Morning skates, I didn't like skating with him because I would be bagged at morning skate because he'd want to go on. Sid, he was superstitious. He'd want to go on a 2-on-1, and if he did it with you the game before and you won,
no.
Yeah,
then you had to do it this game.
You think?
And I'm looking at him going, Sid, I can't go today, but I need to rest these babies for tonight. I need to rest these babies. But he was.
Who did we have on? The Italian kid from St. Louis, Vitale. Joe Vitale. Yeah. He told the story about when he played. He was playing that Dog Days Are Over, and Sid came up and told him the story about the summertime, and they ended up going on an 11-game win streak. And Sid kept coming up to him, telling him the exact same fucking story before the game. And he was the DJ, and when he was playing that exact same song, and this poor kid Vitaly was like a rookie in the NHL, so we'd have to listen to him and act interested the entire time he was retelling it.
Well, you guys know, like Sid, it's no secret. He was very superstitious early in career. I have no idea. Like I have no idea if he's still the same.
He plays soccer and stuff now, which is
I know.
I'm
assuming he's changed, but he still looks the same on the ice.
I know.
He's still. Yeah, it's incredible. Good. I mean, hey, good on him. Like he's a superstar, has been for a long, long time, and couldn't be happier for those guys that they've played their whole career. I mean, we love Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it was an amazing place to play hockey.
It really was. But what's and I guess Sid comes to mind in terms of you're talking about not having the upper body that big. Like his legs are tree trunks, but his upper body's never been huge. What is that all about? Because you still want that upper body power in the corner and stuff, but is that
just the bulk? You need the strength.
You need to be light.
The key is to get the strength. You need to be light and fast and agile and get pucks in positions that are hard. You know, you're going this way and all of a sudden you got to get your body over here. You get too big and too many muscles and you become, rigidity is not good, right? And I think guys just like being slight in their upper bodies, but there is a fine line. I'll say, hey, like, Connor's not big up front.
I know he's skinnier than you think,
and his legs are skinny too. Like
but he's so powerful from the waist down. He's so powerful, like incredible. Like we see him run and to see him do anything heavy.
Is it his alignment? Like what makes that?
Genetics.
It's obviously
genetics.
Yeah, sure, right? I didn't give him that, right? I didn't give him all that.
I was going to sign up for your classes.
He's been with us since he was 15.
And your vitamin program.
If I could clone that guy, I'd be good. But no, like he just his work ethic. Obviously, obviously it's genetics, but his work ethic is elite, like elite of elite, which obviously drives those genetics. And he hates being tired on the ice. Like he works so hard in the summer so he can skate 100 miles an hour for 90 seconds. And he doesn't want to feel tired on the ice. So he works to do that. And yes, sometimes you'd say he overworks, but his commitment to being the best every day, and talk about Sid, those guys they're
next level.
They're the next level for a reason, guys. Yeah. They sacrifice more than others, and they work harder than most others. I'm not saying guys, and I always hate comparing it because I have so many players in my program that I love that work every day, right? And I don't like always to remember, but that's what those guys see. And if you want to play against Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby, and you want to compete against those guys, then you better want to do what they're doing, or close to what they're doing, to ever think you're going to compete with those guys.
Wow.
Yeah, those guys they're prodigies, right? They're born with something that so many others aren't. But what most fans think is, oh, you're just born with that, like touched by God. But and I don't know Connor, but Sid, like he was so obsessed with it too. It's not just being born with it. They don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything. I actually just saw an interview with Derek Jeter, and he's talking about, I never could have had kids while I played baseball. Like it's like these guys, it's a singular focus. And as much as you try to be like that, there's some guys that you'll just never have that drive. It's amazing to see.
They're tapped.
Well, you think you guys saw it. I was in Pittsburgh. I was at the rink early, one of the first ever, in the gym, doing whatever. It used to be, Orps would come in there and I'd say, like, does anybody else fucking work out on this team? No. And it would be me and Brooks Orpik in there, right? But you would hear someone on the ice, and it was like early, before anybody got there. Like, who the hell's on the ice? And I walk out to the ice, and Sid's out there passing pucks. And stick handling, passing pucks before anybody got to the rink. And we'd played the night before. I remember saying, like, what are you doing?
Well, they had to kick us off the ice.
And he said, I didn't like my hands last night. And I looked at him, I said, how do you think the rest of us feel?
Yeah.
I said, well, the whole team should be out here then.
But they had to kick him off the ice.
But that's my point is the commitment, the sacrifice that he made and continues to make, I'm sure, to be as great as he is. That's why he's so great.
Working on your craft.
Working on your craft. That's what I say to every day. Work on your craft. Like whatever you're good at, be really flipping good at it.
Yeah.
You got to find your niche.
Yeah. Sid used to get pissed at me in a way because I would say that to like, oh, you're born you're just born with this, and people leave out the fact that part of them is there. Like, yes, they're born with a gift, but they have that, but the other thing is there. And that's the work ethic that gets overlooked just because they're so good. And it's like, oh, they must just been touched by God. And like, oh, but he'd get pissed. He said, I work hard. He told me that once. He's like, what do you mean it's lucky or I fucking work?
Yeah.
I'm
like, oh yeah, I guess.
Sorry. You're like, sorry, don't have me traded. Oh shit, I'm going to Atlanta.
No.
Yeah, you didn't
shit, I didn't mean it.
Well, as the league gets younger and now you're seeing, kids come in real early.
Yeah.
is training beginning younger? Like, I didn't train till I was like 13. Like, in your opinion, like, when should you start? Like, I guess weight training shouldn't be while you're still going through puberty, right?
Kindergarten's been doing
when you're going
peptides.
As soon as you start going through puberty, as soon as you start getting some hair in your body,
that's when you
start to load a little bit. And I'm not saying back squat 300 pounds, but you need to start loading the body, and that everybody's different. But I have a 14-year-old. And he lifts weights 4 days a week.
Would you do body weight stuff with him when he was even younger?
Yeah, body weight stuff, footwork, soccer,
hills,
like
body weight,
ride the bike.
Yeah,
just more try and force your kid to be a better athlete. And that's what I would say to everybody. Like,
be an athlete.
Be an athlete. You see the guys. If you can't move, you can't play. So be the best athlete you can be. And whatever you have to do to that, whether it's tennis, whether it's basketball, whether it's squash, something in the summer that isn't hockey. Go do it.
Pickleball?
Well, for us seniors, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But no doubt about it that the age of the players, like my program at St. Andrews College this summer, will all have 09s there, right? So they're going into
12.
their OHL.
No, going into 15.
Their OHL draft.
Oh, they're a year older than my kid.
They're 14. Yeah. They're 14.
14, going to be 15.
We're going to be 15. So they're going into their OHL draft years.
Okay.
Right. So we were just in a tournament in Edmonton with my 09. And those boys out there, I can't believe it, are draft eligible in the WHL this year.
They're a year younger, right?
And they're a year younger. And I'm seeing boys out there that are 110 pounds. Yeah. I said to a scout, I was sitting there looking at all the scouts, I'm like, this has got to be hard for you guys. He said, incredibly hard, because these kids could change 8 inches and 30 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
And they're drafting at 14 years old out there in the WHL, where the OHL is a year later. But those are the years I start to introduce kids to our program. So they start to see what other boys are doing. They're there 5 days a week, 3 hours a day at 14. So it's an 8-week program that they sign up for. They come and do pre-training before. And I only take, and the kids are invited. Like I go watch players play, and then I invite kids.
Well, you meet the parents, and then you get the crazy ones. You weed them right out of there, the crazy parents. Yeah.
And then a lot of it comes from, representatives for the players. Yeah. Their representative will reach out and say, I have this boy, would like to come and, spend the time with you. And then but what I love about what we do is those 09s get the same experience as the NHL guys. They get the same coaching.
You get to see it, start dreaming it.
See it, and they get to
feel it. This is what it's like.
Yeah.
And try to manage.
McDavid. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, like last year, I'll just say like my 08 program was there last year. And that was their first year there. And their training time was between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. And Connor Bedard would come to me and say, hey, we got free ice now? And I'm like, yeah. Meanwhile, he's been at the facility since 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah. He's a rat.
Can I go shoot some pucks? And I'm like, yeah, you can go out. So he'd go out at 2 o'clock. So it happened once, happened a couple of times. And all of a sudden, my 08 group that's training on the platform upstairs, they're not training anymore.
They're watching.
And I'm coming out onto the balcony going, hey, you guys, get your flipping workout in. I know you want to watch them, but you guys, you only got like a half hour left. And they were watching Connor Bedard shoot pucks. So just that experience for those 08s.
Yeah.
To see Connor Bedard out there. Yeah, he had his shorts and a ball cap on and his gloves and skates shooting pucks. But he's been in the gym since 7 o'clock in the morning, guys. Yes, he's done 2 workouts, had a little rest on the Normatec chairs, put his boots on, had 2 meals,
love the Normatec.
Had some treatment. That's like it's like day camp.
Yeah.
He's there for 6, 7, 8
hours. That's his job.
Life.
That's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah.
So that's what he's having.
And they're fucking tireless.
They're just and that's what the treatment does. And this is what I say, like the treatment saves all that. If you overtrain, you need more treatment. And all the chiros that you've been in contact with.
Yeah, I've had that.
He's got a new one.
They're amazing. They're amazing people, and they keep players healthy. And I don't think you can play and train the way they do today without proper treatment.
Do you guys implement Thai massages in there?
When they walk on you?
Biz is really big into the Thai massage right now.
Well, they walk on, they work your whole posterior chain. You know what that is.
I'm aware of that.
I'm aware of that.
Oh, yeah. I've been using that word a lot lately. For anything, I just throw it out there.
Like
it's a smart one.
Isn't St. Andrews similar to like Shattuck? It's like a
Correct.
hockey academy.
Correct. So Shattuck was in St. Andrews this week, and they have what is called the McPherson tournament. It's the one big tournament at St. Andrews College in Aurora. And Shattuck was there this weekend.
Yeah.
And they're always like 2 very, very competitive teams. So St. Andrews is like, recognized as one of the top boys' school in the country.
Yeah,
And
they were
have
in
a
New
really-
England, and
they have a really high-end hockey program.
Yeah,
and my boy went there for a bit till he came to me and said he wanted to go play in the Ontario Hockey League. So I sent him to Brantford. So my other son plays in Brantford right now.
Okay, nice.
Which one's that? Is this
Noah.
Noah, that's
you
our
bet.
guy. Noah, when he was there.
Noah.
Dude, he's
my
already playing
God.
junior hockey.
Noah's 18, and he was playing goalie with you guys, playing mini sticks with you guys.
15 years ago.
Noah was playing mini sticks with these guys.
when I met him.
He was a
Yep.
tank.
Little tank playing mini
The
sticks.
kid was a tank.
Is he still a tank?
He's
No, he's tall and skinny
He's tall
now.
and skinny. He's like me. He's like
Yeah.
not as skinny as not as big as me, but he's
I
like
met him.
six.
I met him
He's
when-
like 6 foot, 195 pounds, and plays defense for Brantford.
So have you dealt
That's
with,
what I love to do now. I
Hockey.
I
dad.
watch my boys. I watch my boys, and my daughter, 13 years old, is a figure skater. So I'm like all winter.
You're in a rink.
I'm in a rink. Absolutely, we're watching hockey. Like I
Your
say,
life.
it's given me everything I have in my life. So I enjoy being part of it still. I really do.
In terms of raising kids who played hockey, who played at the highest level, Army and I were talking about this with his son Cruz. It's hard hearing it from your dad, right? Are there times where he's like, "Oh, come on, Dad," or has he been really receptive to everything you've told him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd say honestly, but there's no doubt my boys think I'm crazy. Like, there's no doubt, no different than you guys think I'm crazy. I'm not going to sit here and lie.
Are they crazier than you?
Yeah, no, definitely not, because you just said it, right? Yeah, guys are softer now, but there's no doubt that I'm on my boys. Did you have enough water today? Like, you can't go to the rink hungry. Get a good meal in you. You know, pack an extra pack. Like, I never, like my wife, Michelle would say, like, okay, let them do it themselves.
Enough.
Right. But I'm like, I'll do it till a certain point. And if it doesn't click in, eventually you don't get it, then you're on your own.
Okay.
And so I'm really dedicated that way to my boys. I know what fitness and lifestyle did for me. And I try to teach them that at a really young age. You're not going to be able to get by not doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Living
Especially
right,
now.
eating well, and doing all the right things away from the rink, and getting your sleep at night, putting your damn phone away. Like, I'm still taking phones away from kids at night, because if you're not, they're
a problem.
They're addicted to it.
Gary, I got a content piece idea. We sent RA to you for 8 weeks this summer, and hey,
8 seconds.
we can fine tune.
You're gonna move. So I have dorm rooms at St. Andrews College. You can move into St. Andrews College. We'll feed you and train you for 8 weeks.
The fire alarms better work.
What spurred your interest in it, Gary? Like the health and fitness? Was it prior to your injury? Was it from your neck injury, or did someone introduce you to it? Like, how did you get so in
You
depth?
became obsessed.
Yeah, I became obsessed because I lost my career.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got introduced to, I talked about Lauren Goldenberg. When I retired, I thought I was done. I took 6 months away from the game. Like I say, looked in the mirror one day, said, that's enough. Called Lauren Goldenberg, said, okay, Goldie, I gotta find some help here. And ended up going down that road of finding a chiropractor in Colorado Springs, Dr. Michael A. He spent a week there. I left there like with a whole new thought process. Stopped drinking, started taking care of myself. Came back home. Charles Poliquin was a world-renowned strength coach at the time, working with Olympic athletes. Lauren Goldenberg is the guy. Lauren said, hey, Charles is in Calgary. Why don't you call him? So I called Charles Poliquin, and for the next 10 months, I spent every day, most days, twice a day, with Charles Poliquin. Taught me how to eat, taught me how to train, taught me what to eat with what, taught me what fat to eat, taught me everything. And he was a legend. Like, he could tell me every day how many chin-ups I would do, how many dips I could do, what my body fat was, if I was dehydrated. I wasn't allowed to golf. I wasn't allowed to drink. And for 10 months, I basically reinvented myself. And that's where and Charles has had a heart attack recently in the last few years.
Really?
He passed away. I've sent Brad McCrimmon to him.
Yeah,
Chris Pronger worked with him. Al McInnes worked with him. Like, he's one of the best strength coaches in the world, bar none. And that's who I learned from. And not that I didn't learn from Lauren, but it changed my life. And Charles taught me so much about strength training and so much about eating. And that's really what I'm thankful that I had that opportunity and that time with Charles. And it's just, I say it, at times in your career, you meet people that really, really had an impact on you. And Charles Poliquin, Lauren Goldenberg, Matt Nickel.
Yeah.
These people's in the world that I live in every day, they're amazing human beings and give so much to athletes. And if you will listen, you will get so much more of your career if you listen to people like that, because they are experts. And I was at a point where I needed to listen to people. I needed to change. Yeah. And if I didn't, I would, like I said, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I would
be a lot darker road too.
A lot darker road. And in all of it, I'd just say I'm grateful. I'm grateful every day for the experiences and the people I've met and the teammates I've met. I mean, I have some great friends and great memories of many teams that I played on, and I miss playing every day. Like if I really thought I could go back and play, I would go back and play. I tell my players that, I say, guys, nothing will give you more joy than going to the rink every day and playing the game of hockey. You can't act like that anywhere else maybe you guys, you dorks still do actually.
That's guys why still we act like Spittin Chiclets, so I can still act like a fucking idiot.
But I know, but you're amazing. You guys have been, kudos to you guys. I mean, you guys have been amazing.
Oh, thanks.
I can't congratulate you enough. I love it.
Thank you.
But this is what we miss.
Yeah.
I miss this every day. I miss him coming in and giving it to Sid, because not many guys could, but he would.
Yeah.
Or Bugsy, or the older teammates I play with. Like I miss those times. So good on you guys. I mean,
I appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity.
You still want to chuck them with people though? You get wound up?
I still play hockey a couple days a week, and once in a while I get in. But no, I haven't been invited to alumni games since the Toronto incident. So
too much, man.
What happened at that one
of 2015?
Well, you don't remember this one, man?
BMO Fields. BMO Fields. I'll let you guys.
What the hell happened?
We got late in the game. And there wasn't really, it was just got a little, Cicerelli went in and gave Danny Markov a little shot. Then went in the corner and kind of mixed it up with Draper a little bit, and he put me in a headlock. And
then the wires crossed.
And I basically chased him on the ice, asking him to fight at GMO Fields. In front
dead serious.
Oh, dead
You're not
serious.
a shitty hockey guy, Rob.
Was he joking with the headlock?
No, he was. No, he told me, actually, he would tell you. He told me to F off, and I said, really? So I yelled at him, and
there was
I said something like
nothing prior. I just said the stuff happening.
Draper, you want to have your first NHL fight today?
Oh yeah, great line.
In an alumni game.
And this is an alumni game. So I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously we knew each other. We have
squashed it.
We squashed. Yeah. But
we could set up a rough and rowdy for you guys.
Look who's on the benches. Like Tiger Williams was like is probably still mad at me today because I didn't fight him. He yelled at me, right? Yelled at me for not doing it. And then you got Joey Kosher on their bench, Darren McCarty, Martin Lapointe, and then our bench you got Tiger, Corson, Tucker, myself, Bobby McGill. Was Ty there? Ty was there. Fuck. So, anyways, it would have been.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
It would have got really ugly.
That would have been the greatest alumni game of all time.
So it's all good. It's all good. But at the moment, like I can remember, obviously Drapes and I are fine. It's all life moves on, right? But my 7-year-old at the time, Sam, who's now 14, he was slashing a guy in the back of the leg, skating down the ice.
You're like, oh, Jesus.
And as soon as I did it, I chased Draper after he gave me the headlock, told me to F off, and I kind of was chasing after him, and I gave him a chop at the back of the leg. As soon as I see my 7-year-old after the game, he says, you know what, Dad, you're not allowed to take your stick and just slash somebody with it, are you? I'm like, sorry, son. Kind of lost it.
Life lesson for you.
Life lesson.
Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Rob used to tell me always to eat nails. Just go home and eat some nails.
Yeah,
that was his line.
That was his breakfast.
Boys' nails today.
Do you
we got
ever
a big game tonight.
Crush a pizza or an ice cream? You ever have cheat meals, or is it never?
No, I would say people that know me best. I
once in a while.
Yeah, like I drink wine. Okay. I like some tequila.
All right, but no beers, right?
No, I feel like a little bit of beer. I love having like a Peroni and barbecuing.
Yeah,
like guys, I still live. But I'm not. I want to practice what I preach. Yeah. Do I have dessert? I have.
What do you like?
I have like coconut ice cream. I have. Yes, we have pizza once in a while, but it's like a spelt crust pizza.
Are you he's like electrocuting himself.
He's like cauliflower crusted pizza.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't have to worry about gluten free chocolate. I love dark chocolate.
Okay.
A little dark chocolate. Even if I have a glass of wine, maybe I'll have a little dark chocolate, a glass of wine.
Look at you. Look at you, Gary.
When you're really wild.
Oh, you fancy.
I'm fancy. I'm soft. I'm soft is what I am. I'm softer now than I've ever been.
I got a question for
COVID did that to me though.
Home
with 3 kids, fighting over the internet, and it's like every day I'm in Michelle and you're looking at each other and go, okay, hon, what are we drinking today?
Yeah.
It's like 3:30 in the afternoon. COVID did that to us Ontarians for sure.
Yes.
In the last 5 years and maybe where it's headed, like what have been the biggest advancements as far as like maybe it's recovery, maybe it's a diet? Like what's the biggest thing that you've implemented in your programs or whatever, where you're like, this has changed it all? Like even like cold tubbing.
Yeah, I
talked about peptides. Like I don't know what the fuck peptides are.
No doubt, nutrition is continuing to be a forefront of recovery. Right, nutrition will always be the forefront of recovery. But stuff like infrared saunas, like hydrotherapy, like cold tubs.
Before or after the workout?
I would say, well, there's all this research on cold tubs after workout.
I'm looking it up. I'm seeing everything.
For inflammation, recognize you're not trying to get big muscles. You're not trying to.
No, I want one.
Like, does it affect your growth to go into a cold tub after a heavy strength workout? Yes, but how hard are you working out? I only do it because if I do, like today, I squatted today. I did a treadmill walk and then I squatted, did some pull-ups, did some incline bench, did some Swiss ball, hamstring curls. So I just did a little light circuit today. And I got in my cold tub for 4 minutes. I have a cold chewer cold tub that I get in, and I really like it. But that's just because I don't want to be sore tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm not worried about performance. I'm worried about I'm going to sit in my car and drive my kids around for 5 hours tomorrow. My hips get stiff. My hips get stiff sitting. So I try to do 1 hour a day on my body. That's what I do. And that could be infrared sauna, cold tub, maybe some red light therapy, maybe a PEMF mat. Like that's my recovery day. So I would say recovery and nutrition are still evolving and becoming a much bigger part of players' program than it would have been. That's what we try to even bring guys to the gym and just crawl for a day, do some animal flow for a day as a recovery day. Get a little sweat.
Like what, you just crawl around?
You have to make the noises.
You know what it's like getting on your hands and knees and crawl around like a bear for a while?
Yeah.
Imagine how tired you get.
Oh, yeah.
Do you make them do the noises?
No, I don't make them do the noises. No.
Get over here, Connor McDavid. Let me rub your belly.
But we try to do stuff that is different. It's not just weight training. People that think me, they probably think we weight train too much. But that's all evolved too. And that's what I say. Like you've played with the players, and you probably did. I did it where something worked for you 1 year, and you're like, I'm going to do this every summer now. Right. And then you do it for 2, 3, 4 more summers and it works, but you've got to evolve. Yeah. You've got to change. You've got to do something different. You get older. You need to modify your program to still have the success. The bottom line is being healthy and feeling good. And it isn't always lifting your max to do this. Right. And that's why recovery nutrition continue to evolve in our program. And Sylvie spends a lot of time with players on nutrition, especially when they first come to us. The first thing you learn when you come to my program is how to eat and how to live. And then
that's your base.
You got base. You're correct.
Best liquor is tequila, though, for you, right?
Yeah, I like a good tequila.
Yeah,
nice
I was told sipper, that's like
nice
the best
sipper,
one.
Just a sipper.
What about weed? What's your thoughts on weed?
Gosh, I'm not going to comment. I can't.
What do you mean?
Well,
See, I don't crack it.
It's an area for me. It's just an area for me. I've never touched. I know I'm
not a weed guy either. I don't know anything.
I don't get involved in it. I'm probably not educated enough in it either, Biz. When it comes to
I meant for recovery. RA's been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah, like
he brings out the PowerPoint.
I think last time I tried that was early in my 20s, and yeah, that was it.
Yep.
You and Lanny McDonald.
Yeah, I wasn't with Lanny McDonald, but it was with some teammates in Calgary on a fishing trip.
I'm more so meant, like, would you tell one of your athletes, like, instead of drinking, smoke weed instead?
Yeah, Gary Roberts would never recommend that.
If you had to say one or the other?
Well, yeah, I would say, I don't know, take some gummies maybe.
Yeah, take some gummies.
Have you talked to...
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay.
Have you talked...
It just sounds... I can say that. I can't say the other thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You would say don't do either.
Yeah, but listen, if guys know in my program, I've relaxed a lot. Like, I recognize you got to go have some fun. But if every weekend you're going to have fun and you're a bag of shit on Monday morning and your jump scores suck, and I'm like, okay, you've had 3, good times this summer. Well, you're only here for 8 weeks or 10 weeks. Can't afford to be, hung over 3 weekends in a row.
Would you ever think about having a personality guy in there that you'd hire to run around with the boys? Like a guy
looking for a job.
I need another. I have 8 jobs. I wheel around in there. I get the boys going, like crack some jokes and stuff, so they're not so.
It's not so tight. We usually have jokers in our program. Like,
you got to have those guys around.
You got to have them because they make it.
It's a
fun.
grind.
You got to have it. You can't be. We're not dead serious. We are serious, but we have lots of fun, and we make sure the guys have fun.
Yeah,
and
you got to.
We have fun days. We take them rock climbing, or we play frisbee, or we go play some beach volleyball. Like, we do fun days away from the gym too. It needs to incorporate that stuff. Yeah. It can't be every day.
Yeah.
Same program. We build in those 3 or 4 day breaks for players 2 or 3 times over the summer.
Have you talked to Berube at all?
I talked to him. Yeah, I am close with him. I have talked to him.
He's looking to coach obviously again, right?
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for him. He was a good teammate. Him and I used to train together too throughout our career. He's tough as nails. Yeah. So I hope he gets back in there, but he will.
Yeah.
He loves the game enough, and as you guys know, gosh, it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig to coach in the National Hockey League nowadays. There's more turnover now than there probably ever has been. So if you want to coach and you want to live that lifestyle, I'm sure Craig will get another opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Unreal, Robs. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for the insight.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I always appreciate the offer to come down today. It's nice to get back out there.
Great to have you again, Gary.
I kind of hide. I'm not out in the open very often, so I appreciate the relationship.
You're an awesome teammate, Robs. Love playing with you.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you were.
I know I might have been a prick some days, but
I would have loved that.
But I tried to be.
You're a great leader, veteran for us at the right time in our careers, just coming in. So
I've told the story many times that the speech you gave during the Cup Finals about when you won it, and you thought you'd be back every year, and then all of a sudden it's whatever, 16 years later. I'll never forget that speech.
I couldn't even get through it. I was too emotional, actually. I couldn't get through it. I remember I was in Detroit.
It was amazing.
What, game 7?
Game 6 in Detroit. Game 5 in Detroit.
It was before game 5.
Oh, yeah.
And we
you guys
won.
lost game 6 that year?
And we won game 5 in Detroit. And then...
Triple OT or double OT.
That's right.
Who was it?
Talbot scored in that game, I think.
Talbot tied it up late, and Sikora scored.
Sicky.
Sikora.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a guy that guy was. Where is that guy?
What he used to say?
Kobe B, rest is a weapon.
Rest is a weapon.
Army, I feel terrible today. I can't.
He felt terrible every day.
Bro, he would get rubbed. I called him Kobe Beef. He'd just be getting rubbed every day.
Yeah. It's amazing to think back to all the teammates you play with, and names like that pop up, and you're like, shit, and you realize, I mean, the game was good to us, and
such great guys.
And how many great guys you've met along the way. It's what you keep close to your heart when you're done.
Bugsy's line to end it, love the game and it'll love you back. So you always were like that, Robs, and thank you for joining.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much to that machine. Still looks phenomenal. No surprise there. Biz, kind of before we wrap up here, I know we went to the Frozen Four. It was a blast. I couldn't be at the semifinal game. Unfortunately, I was winning a mini golf tournament in Chicago in Barstool. Still haven't been paid for that. But I mentioned it to Portnoy. He did feel bad. He said, we got to get you guys paid for that. So I'd like to see the cash from being the champion. But I missed the Frozen Four games on Thursday. Got there for Saturday where we witnessed an all-time great game. Denver beats BC in a classic. Our vlog's finally coming out. It's a great job. Fish absolutely crushed it. By the way, I missed a message on the beginning of this show from G, who said Fish used to be a competitive breakdancer.
No, he didn't.
Surprised. She wrote that. Read the chat. Read the private chat. Fish used to competitive breakdance. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all. He's probably looking to get Raygun for a sandbagger.
I would love to see a content piece where those two go at it, because he can't be that much worse than her.
Yeah, exactly.
We should do a live stream, him and Raygun. What's Fish's, if he's back there, what's his breakdancing name? You need a name to go in. Stinky Fish? What's your breakdancing name?
What's up, boys? So yeah, I used to breakdance with my brother a ton. We breakdanced for like 8 or 9 years. We do it competitively for a while. So I used to do it with my brother. So he was Fishy and I was Guppy, and then we would do that together.
So you were. So it was like Siegfried and Roy, just no tiger, just you two just grinding up on each other, breakdancing?
No, we would like battle other crews. We'd go around the city and like dance against other dance crews. It was
So
fun.
you were like Eminem in 8 Mile, but it wasn't words, it was just moves.
Hey,
Yeah,
G, can you see if we can get a wig donated to Fish? That fucking salad is worse than last week.
Yeah, still rocking
You look very Russian right now. I think
He is.
With the beard, you look like you're a star in the KHL trying to defect over to play for the Blues.
Let's call you the Stinky Russian. That's your breakdancing
Wait, Fish,
name.
now could you be very honest with us and mention if you could find some videos of this?
I was
Of me dancing? Absolutely. I got tons.
Oh,
Can you
I
pull
love
one
this.
up on the screen right now
Hopefully
so
this
we
is
can
attached
live watch
to
it?
To the video of our show.
Well, he's going to pull it up so we can get our live reaction of him breakdancing.
In the meantime, while I look for this, I'll just talk about Raygun's performance. She, when I first saw it, my initial reaction was like, this has to be a joke. Like, this has to be a joke.
Trolling.
But then I was thinking about it a little bit more, and I was like, maybe she's doing some kind of weird like protesty thing, because this is like a creative outlet. Like, breakdancing is a creative outlet, and there's a lot of people that like really disagree with the whole, even it being a competition, like being in the Olympics in the first place.
Really?
It's this.
Oh,
big
like this is
creative
underground. This isn't like, this shouldn't be mainstream.
Yeah, it's kind of like when skateboarding joined. People were like, I don't know if this should really be in the Olympics. It's like a creative outlet.
So that was kind of my understanding with all the alternative sports that kind of came over from X Games, was the first Olympics that whatever sport was introduced. Then they saw the winner and like maybe the publicity and I don't want to say the fame, but everything it brought with winning it. And then that had to happen before then it got big and more people jumped on board. Same thing goes for skateboarding, where any of these sports now, they get all the top athletes going for the gold, right? Alternative?
Yeah, basically. But so like going back to her performance, like they're graded on 5 things. It's technique, vocabulary, execution, musicality, and originality.
What do you mean vocabulary? They're not talking.
She got 0
vocabulary
points.
is about like what your message is in your dance, like how you're expressing a message. Because that's the thing. People think breakdancing is just like these really acrobatic moves, and that's just not the case. Like people think, oh, it's just all these big power moves. People call them power moves. It's like when people are spinning on their head, doing flips, like that kind of thing. And that's like, think of it like you're playing the drums. It's like a crash cymbal at the end of a beat. It's like, that's how you like finish out your message. She can't do those kinds of things. She isn't able to. So she went out there just to like be herself and try to be original. But she basically failed on all those categories.
So at one of your meets with your brother, if you faced off against her, would you have left like, we just dummied that girl? It was like playing an East Coast leaguer and I'm Connor McDavid.
Yeah, we
like.
Would,
did you watch that and say that was horrible? Like if it was in one of your events,
it was pretty bad. There's no redeeming qualities about it.
Do you agree with that? I don't think she got the fans on her side when the other person was going and she was kind of doing those motions like, oh yeah, like sleeping, like boring, and she was like shooing them away when she wasn't even performing.
That's the part of like the vocabulary where they're kind of like maybe like trying to mock them. Like mockery is a big one. So that's what I think she was trying to do, but. Yeah, just like that. It didn't look.
She
good
lost
me.
me.
Back it up. Yeah,
well,
she was
Wyatt has
roasted.
better vocabulary than her.
Okay, I got a good video for you guys.
All right, here we go.
Mind the ass stain.
What'd you
Oh my
do?
God,
Shit
did
your
you poop
pants?
yourself?
Not bad, Fishy. Oh my!
Damn, Fish.
Holy shit! That's one.
We got an
move you
Olympian
got?
as a producer.
That's just like
Or
one
is
move I
that-
was working on. That's what I could pull up, but I got more stuff.
Can we add breakdancing to the Chiclets Cup? Can we have a special rink just for breakdancing?
Well, Biz, I'll train you if you want to do the 6-month challenge and see if you could.
I'm gonna
he's
do
gotta do a
stick with the
triathlon first.
Triathlon,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to stay focused here. Maybe that could help with the flexibility though. So we'll talk, Fish. But that's pretty cool. Thanks for coming on and giving us that full breakdown. But that was just an experiment gone wrong. And then I guess with all the backlash, she was pretty offended by it. Like her coach had to come out and defend her.
Yeah, I mean, she made statements after like, I just came out there to do my thing. And it's like, all right, I get it. Like, whatever. You got to go to the Olympics. Cool trip. Like, good for you. But also, like, kind of put a bad name on the sport, I'd say.
We got put RA in net for the Winter Olympics for Team USA. He was just going out there doing his thing.
RA does breakdance. He just goes out and scratches his ass through his jeans for 10 minutes.
Him and Raygun.
Wins the gold.
He would do the instead of the kangaroo hop.
He'd warthog.
Well, we appreciate you, Fish.
Last thing, so the YouTube. I don't know how we just got into that again from talking about the Frozen Four. I don't even remember. I guess that's Chiclets in a nutshell. But that is Thursday on Chiclets TV at 6 o'clock. Tune into that. It's awesome. Great job. Oh, it was because I think I said Fish did an awesome job, and then I reminded everyone that he apparently was a breakdancer. So Biz, I love you, buddy. And all you fans listening, thank you so much. Kind of the middle of the off season. No news coming around, but we'll be back soon enough with hockey in about a month, I guess. Preseason will be starting, and we'll see you next week.
And if you know a good Thai masseuse in Vancouver, send her my way.